Welcome back to Kind of Funny Star Wars in Review. That's right, we are ranking and reviewing every movie in the Star Wars cinematic universe. I'm Tim Gettys. This is Andy Cortez. That's Kevin Coelho. We got Nick Scarpino rounding out the group over there. We got Big B Money on the ones and twos back there.
Yeah, what up?
Kill it if you have to.
It's a good line. That's a really good line.
A lot of good lines.
Fantastic. Yeah. This show is live every week on Tuesdays at twitch.tv/kindoffunnygames. You can watch it later on youtube.com/kindoffunny, roosterteeth.com, or you can listen to it as a podcast by searching your favorite podcast service for Kind of Funny Reviews. If you want to get the show ad-free or be a Patreon producer like our boy Al Tribesman.
He's coming back for season 8. Did you hear? He got picked up.
Did he?
Yeah,
That's
great.
But it's on the CW though.
Oh, that's okay.
Yeah.
No, I like the CW. They got a lot of
Okay,
good
yeah.
Al Tribesmen.
You can go to patreon.com.
Got a lot of good Al Tribesmen.
You can also write your haikus in reviews in haiku form by going to Patreon as well.
That'd be amazing.
Yeah, it was
that even look
figure it
like?
out, guys.
I mean, it kind of makes sense.
Yeah.
A
Yeah,
haiku,
like
a haiku in review
But
You have to review the movie. Like
Yeah.
it's
As a haiku.
It works
Yeah.
both ways.
I don't know about that. But anyways, today we are talking about Star Wars Episode VIII, The Last Jedi, released December 15th, 2017, directed by Rian Johnson. That's Ryan with an I and an
Yeah, everyone always thought it was Rian.
A. Yeah,
But
because
it's
it looks
just
like
Ryan.
Ryan. But it's just Ryan.
He was like, guys, I'm not that bougie. It's
I want to
just
go watch
Ryan.
Knives Out.
Dude,
People
you
like it.
really
People
should.
seem to like
It's
it.
really fun.
Yeah.
I was
You
so
seen
excited.
Sonic?
I haven't seen it yet. No, I just
I've
saw
seen
reviews. People said it was really good.
It's really fun. And
Yeah.
if you like Rian Johnson's like mystery kind of stuff, it's so good. It reminds me so much of another movie that I always talk about called Brothers Blooms that he did. Brothers
Rian
Blooms.
Johnson is best known for writing and directing the neo-noir mystery film Brick in 2005,
Great
the comedy drama film The Brothers Bloom in 2008, the science fiction thriller film Looper in
Weird nose.
2012,
Better than Arrival, I hear.
then Last Jedi,
Absolutely
and then Knives Out most recently. He's also notable for directing 3 episodes of Breaking Bad,
Hell yeah.
Fly,
Ozzy,
51, and Ozymandias.
the best episode.
What do you feel about that,
Ozymandias is
Andy?
one of the best episodes of all time.
Which
of
one
any
was that
show.
one?
I
I remember The Fly. That was one where he was just in the whole.
very end one. Well, that's the thing.
Okay.
So I posted some really cool things I was noticing while I was doing my Breaking Bad rewatch. And The Fly is, a pretty polarizing episode because not a whole lot happens in it, but there's a lot
He
of really
tracks the
great
Fly down
character
for an entire
development.
hour, and it's amazing.
And so yeah,
Very tediously amazing.
So I
can't tell
I
if he
clipped
actually
out
likes
this,
The
Oh, I
Fly.
did. I love
clipped
that
out
episode.
this little part that's really, really cool. There's this awesome shot and how they Walter White is trying to reach for this fly, and then he jumps, hits this container, hits the ground. It's clearly a stuntman, but they have this really awesome shot where it zooms in. It shows everything happen. He hits the thing, he hits the ground, and then it dollies up to him, and it's actually Bryan Cranston. But they have a really cool cut that's really hard to notice where they actually switched out. It's really masterfully done.
Oh, you mean he didn't just fall and then he pops up on the other side of
No,
the screen?
And then so I tweeted out. I put this on Instagram and I was like, directed by Rian Johnson. This episode pretty polarizing. I don't really love the episode, but it's still well made. A lot of people were like, "Oh, quit being a hater." And I was like, "Guys, not everything has to go back to the Last Jedi.
Stop. Not everything has to go back to
It's
the
just a
Last
fact.
Jedi.
It was
the
just a
past
little
Let the
die.
past fucking die, everybody. Budget of $317 million. Box office of $1.333 billion, making it the 13th highest grossing movie of all time.
amazing.
A runtime of 2 hours and 35 minutes, making it the longest Star Wars movie thus far. May the facts be with you. I thought this was interesting. The Last Jedi's codename was Space Bear.
Space Bear.
Space Bear.
Space Bear.
Okay.
Yeah.
Have there any of them been called Laser Sword? Because if I ever direct a Star Wars movie, if Disney completely has no idea who I am and has never watched a single podcast I've ever been on or seen a single tweet or Instagram story,
Yeah.
and they just go, seems like a guy that we should get
guy.
behind, and they let me direct one, I'm like, codename Laser Sword.
Yeah. I don't know if they would let
That's
you
a
do
cool
that.
code.
Or-
It's a little on the nose.
Laser Bear,
Oh.
How about Bear Sword?
Sword hands.
Edward
Blade hands.
Bring it
White
back.
Claw hands.
Bring them fucking back. And then I just thought this was hilarious because I use this website fascinate.com to get a lot of the
Don't spoil the
facts.
magic for people. They like to think that
he's-
you
I know,
did
I-
investigative
he's talked
journalism
about it
for
a
all
lot.
of these
No,
things.
I go to a
Yeah.
bunch of different
Is it
sites, but
spelled that way?
this is one of them. Yes.
How do you spell it?
I don't know,
It's
actually. Fuck, Andy, why the fuck y'all calling me out here? Okay.
well, because it's spelled here FACINATE, and it's FASCI.
Vaccinate?
There's no
Could be.
Yeah, maybe. That's what I'm
Ooh.
saying.
It's vaccinate.com.
Vaccinate. I like that.
I don't know,
It's
guys.
like ratings without the
Here's-
A.
It doesn't
yes,
matter.
yes. Here's what I do know, though.
Yeah.
Johnson had a lot of homework to do when preparing to direct The Last Jedi. He used 3 movies in particular to inspire the direction he took for the film. 12 O'Clock High for the aerial combat scenes, 3 Outlaw Samurai for the sword fighting, and To Catch a Thief for the scale and grandeur. Some fans feel that a few Star Wars films should have been on that list.
Yeah, this is the website.
I feel like he's editorializing with that.
I read that, I was like, damn.
Yeah.
But anyways,
Salty.
before we get into the plot and all the other stuff, let's go around the table. What did we think of The Last Jedi? Andy.
I like this movie every time. I like this movie more every time I watch it. I still think it has a lot of weird moments that just kind of make me go, I wish they wouldn't have done that. But I've always been of the mind that it's possible to not love this movie and not, but those reasons not being lore related. So I've never, when we first watched it, I never had a problem with what he did with the lore, what he did with the Star Wars universe. It was just more of, that's
The
a
actual
weird thing. That's
logistics
a
of
weird
it.
line. That directing is kind of weird. That's editing is kind of off. This pacing is awkward. It was more of like just filmmaking aspects of it. But I seem to like the movie more and more every time I watch it, and I was pleasantly surprised when I watched it again last night.
Kev.
So I got to watch this movie early when it came out, and
Show
like,
off,
it gave me hives because I couldn't talk about it, which is the first time I've ever had hives. Just because I had so
Not
many.
the last, though. Not the last.
Well, we'll see. But like, no, it was one of these things where like I felt like I needed to talk to someone, specifically like my friends, and I couldn't because you guys hadn't seen it
You
yet.
needed a support group.
Yeah.
Real quick though, I always thought you getting hives is like just a figurative.
No, I had like a rash under my right.
It was just a lot of
side.
sweat there.
They
There was a
cured
lot
it
of-
with
No, it was
the stuff,
like-
the same thing
and
they cure
you got-
crabs with.
It was. You guys all making fun of it, but like this was a really weird experience for me, where it's like legitimately for 4 days I like was stressing about it because I wanted to talk to anyone about it, because all the people that I went to watch at the screener were like not Star Wars diehard fans that were like, oh yeah, this is interesting, and I just want to say that like this movie has a lot of really cool moments that are awesome. It even has some cool story moments that I like. That being said, it also has a lot of moments that I think hurt the lore of Star Wars, where it's like these decisions aren't good for like the fact that there's another movie coming out after it. It's one of the prettiest Star Wars movies, I think.
I'd say
Yeah.
the prettiest.
This and Rogue One, I feel
Yeah.
like there's moments in
Yeah.
each that make that hard for me to like distinctly say.
The only reason I say this one is because I think this one does the thing that Control does, the video game Control, where there's like these really big moments, and I think they do awesome stuff with color in this movie a lot. And then Rogue
Yeah.
One just kind of felt like a bland palette. Even though it was shot beautifully, I feel like the colors are a little bit more muted. This one has a little bit more like pop to it. which
Yeah, I mean the
really
throne room alone is
Yeah.
so visually interesting. Where you're like, it's simple. They just put a lot of red behind them, but it's so strikingly cool. And it's such an
the
interesting
use
choice
of
when it
red
starts
in
to
general
red.
in
Yeah.
this movie. I think even like later with Crate, it's like it I like that. I
Yeah.
like the stark white and then just
100%.
like these things of red, especially when Luke looks like he blows up. He looks like he blows up.
So
you
Oh,
know?
back to Kev,
Yeah.
sorry.
I just want to say that like one of the things that was unfortunate, I watched this on Netflix, and the quality of it is just not great. There's a moment I recorded in the first like 10 minutes where the aspect ratio shifts a little bit, and it's just like
Really?
it's so weird. So
I can't wait to rewatch on Disney Plus.
That's the thing. I am excited to watch it on Disney Plus.
End of the month.
Yeah, really close. I wish we would. I had watched it that way.
That 4K magic. Nick.
Watching it again, I think I enjoyed it a lot more than the first time, and I think that's largely because a lot of the elements that were shocking to me the first time I already knew were coming. So what was cool is I actually was able to focus a little bit more on the story and some of the thematic elements that they were exploring, and I came to the conclusion that this movie is it's probably the most interesting Star Wars film that's ever been made, because they explore a lot of ideas that they haven't done so far, and a lot of unique themes of like, hey, they're up to this point we've been told there's a light and a dark and that's it, binary, you're either good or bad, and this is the first Star Wars that's really like, hey, what if we were just not either of those things? Why don't we shed those things? Those are our parents' things. Why don't we just move forward with this new thing that could be in the middle, gray, right? I mean, even her choice of costume this whole movie, she's in gray. You don't know if she's going to go light or dark, and maybe it doesn't matter.
Our
That
parents
stuff's-
listen to the Beatles and Black Sabbath, but what if we listen to Billie Eilish? You know what I mean? You know?
But like, and that's really, really cool. And I think that's really, really interesting. And I really applaud Rian Johnson for exploring that stuff, because I think that there's, how many times can we see good versus evil? Why not just have a little bit of like, hey, there's, and also they talk about, you know, the military industrial complex and how, you know, even though this resistance is good, they're still funding, like they're still buying these ships and funding these bad people in existence. So who's really winning this war? Is it the First Order, the resistance, or the people who are just balling out on Canto Bite? And those are really, really interesting ideas. And so if you just see the movie from just the thematic standpoint, I think it's brilliant. Unfortunately, I think all that stuff gets really, really overshadowed by just the sheer utter stupidity of the plot of this film. And I can't emphasize that enough, is in that there were moments where I'm like, oh wow, I really misjudged this. And then something happens and you go, why would anyone in any circumstance choose to do this thing?
Yeah.
And it just is so fucking heartbreaking for me, because if Rian Johnson had just gotten out of his own way and just written a slightly more straightforward Star Wars story with these thematic elements, I think it would have been the best Star Wars film ever made.
I like that it's not cookie cutter. Right, like I don't think it's as cookie cutter as other Star Wars movies have been.
I feel like
right?
it is when you really break
Yeah.
it down.
So
Yeah.
I think the plot of it is very cookie cutter, and I think what he did, and I'm totally spitballing here, was he had these really deep cerebral ideas that he wanted to explore, and he just needed to get the characters into those situations.
That is
to talk
exactly
about
what
them.
it feels like. Where it's just like he's like, okay, we have this sandbox that Force Awakens left us with.
Right.
How do
Which,
I,
by the way, was
kind of
looking at
not worry about that.
watching
and just
Force Awakens,
force these things into this.
Watching Force Awakens and then watching this, it is like, wow, we made a generic action film and a fucking indie Star Wars movie, and like,
Man, see, I feel like
but-
so much of that stuff is just like surface level.
well, what I mean by that is,
observations where it's like it doesn't really feel that way.
no, but with The Force Awakens, sorry, let me not misspeak here. The Force Awakens is a very like store-bought Star Wars film. It's generic as it comes. It's a rehashing of
paint by
everything.
numbers,
It's paint
man.
by numbers, and it's beautifully done, and I fucking love it. Don't get me wrong. This movie, I do give Rian Johnson a lot more credit than I initially gave him, with the shock of some of the elements of this movie that I'm sure we'll get into. That all being aside, I'm like, wow, you actually try to do something different here. Like you looked at what J.J. Abrams did, who was mirroring what Spielberg's done in the past and what Lucas has done in the past, and you said, why don't we try and push this forward into an era where it is 2019 or 2018 when this movie came out. 17. And people are more culturally aware, and people are a little bit less. I think audiences can be a little smarter than just to think everything has to be binary good versus evil.
It reminds me of Death Stranding. Like, you know, I think it takes a lot of weird risks, and I don't think all of them are for the better of the movie, but I still applaud
Definitely.
the idea that you can do some weird shit with Star Wars that will kind of like ultimately divide a fan base in some ways, you know? It's really interesting.
Well, my thing though is like doing something different. Go from A New Hope to Empire. Like to me, it's like that's doing something different and going into these themes. And there's so much ideas of the dark and light and Luke running away and all that stuff. It's like I feel like that's better explored in those movies, and this isn't that different. It does feel kind of cookie cutter again of doing something different, but I feel personally that I'm just not satisfied with a lot of the decisions. I agree completely with what you were saying, where every time I watch this, and especially this time, I appreciate it more because I'm not as like taken aback by the decisions being made. And there are so many elements of this that are fantastic. The first 10 minutes of this movie, like literally right up until the shot of her catching the thing to the detonator, are pitch perfect to me. Where I absolutely
really?
I love the X-wing going up.
You like the call where he calls him and
I
trolls him?
hate the call.
You like that part?
I like it.
I love it with the exception
I
of
think that it fucks up the tone of that scene.
I take
but
back the
we'll
pitch
get into
perfect
it.
by one line with the your mama joke. Like otherwise, I like it because I like the idea that the First Order are playing make believe. Like they are like little kids that heard the legends of the Empire and are just like, oh, we're gonna do it too. And it's the hot topicization of it
See,
all. But my problem is watching this. I had the moment you had where it's like every moment I'm like, oh man, I was wrong. Something will happen. I'm like,
Yeah.
And it sucks because the themes are so good. I just feel like they don't end in satisfying ways.
And I think the bigger sin for me though is that we are exploring this. We are saying, hey, we literally have a character who's a bad guy, who in a sympathetic moment goes, no, don't do what you've always done, Rey. We have an opportunity here to burn the past down and forge ahead in this brand new, crazy, brave new direction. Come with me. And she goes, no. And we end this movie exactly where we started. And that is so sad to me that I'm like, you had the balls to explore these ideas, but you didn't have the fucking balls to take Rey. Rey is Luke Skywalker again. She's literally where he was at the end of Empire Strikes Back. And I'm like, why would you set all this stuff up if you weren't going to follow through and push forward to a brand new, like, now we're just going to get Return of the Jedi. And it's like, that's not bad. Again, none of this is necessarily bad. We're still talking about Star Wars, and I enjoyed this movie on the second watching. But I'm just like, you had an opportunity and you just didn't push it.
I feel like this
enough.
is a good movie, and it's even a good Star Wars movie. But I do think that I don't like it, and the reasons I have so many issues with it is that it is not a standalone thing. It's not a Star Wars story. It's not an anthology. It is Episode 8 that is in between not only Episode 7 and 9, but also part of the Skywalker saga. And it feels like, we'll see with Episode 9. But I want nothing more than to just have had one director
the whole time.
This
That
trilogy,
was so
man.
cool.
It's so sad that we won't know what that could have been.
I just want to add that, like, I feel like a lot of people are like, oh, the story is so, like, unique. But I also feel like it borrows a lot from Empire and Return of the Jedi, where, like, the last the throne room scene reminds me so much of the throne room scene in Return of the Jedi, where it's like at the end, like, it goes a different route. If Vader had earlier on chose to fight against Sidious, but, like, at the end we still get that moment where, like, she's watching her friends get destroyed and Kylo's like, let him, that's done, like, let that go. And it reminds me so much of Anakin having the moment where he's like, no, they're all fucked, they're dead, they're gonna die. And it's like, I just wish they had the balls. Yeah, with Luke, sorry. Where I wish they had made the decision to have Rey go with Kylo, because that would have been interesting. And I don't think that, like, I think that it becomes very formulaic when she's like, no, we're going to go. This lightsaber explodes. He gets knocked out, and she has enough time to leave. Like, that's just so, like, if it wanted to make something different, I wish it had gone all the way.
And that's what I'm talking about with the satisfying thing.
Yeah.
I know a lot of people critique our criticisms and say, like, oh, well, like, you can just make the movie. Or, like, they're mad that the movie didn't do exactly what they wanted. It's not that I'm mad that it didn't do what I wanted. It's just what it did, I didn't like the end point for the characters and for the story.
Yeah, I think I like a lot more stuff in here than I give this movie credit for, which it makes it even so much more heartbreaking to me, because I'm watching this going, fuck, there's actually, now that the emotions are out of it, now that my the shock of like some of the interesting choices here have worn off, I'm like, there really is a lot of beautiful things about this movie. But then there are just some moments where I'm like, what the
Real quick, just one last thing. Like, for me, there are 3 characters that are, like, broken, and, like, I wish that they had done different things. We have Rose. Just overall, I did not enjoy her character, and, like, there's so many lines that she does, and her conclusion of her story is, or not conclusion, but, like, where her story ends, I'm always like, okay, that's an interesting route you guys chose. And then also Holdo.
Hodor.
Where it's just like, I feel like a lot of the problems were caused because she wouldn't talk to the team about what the decision she was making, and I feel like there's no reason to keep that a secret.
Yeah, it feels very movie.
Very, very movie.
Yeah.
And then
Also,
the
Poe
last
and
one,
Finn are kind of like the reasons why almost everything.
well, I mean, but it's all stems from Holdo not telling them what the plan is. Because had she just told them, they would have gotten there, they would have escaped, and it would have been perfectly fine. And then Luke, a lot of decisions Luke make, I don't think ring true to the character that we've known from episodes 4 to 6, where it's like him giving up on Kylo so quickly and then turning his back and leaving and just being like, I'm out of the fight, guys. Doesn't sound like it's crazy to me that that's what the character of Luke Skywalker chose.
Yoda did the same thing, though. Right? Like,
Yeah, but
Yoda-
Yoda was
no,
part
he
of
was
a
in
failed
hiding.
Jedi Council.
Everyone around him got massacred. He was like, shit, I'm
but
on
he
the
was
run.
also like, when the moment came.
And also,
for-
we don't like that idea either.
yeah, same.
We don't like how you wound up like
But I
that
think
either.
that when the
That was a
moment
poor
came
choice on
for
Lucas's
Yoda
part.
to either help or not help, at the end, Yoda decides to be like, okay, I will train you. You know, like Yoda.
And that's the thing too. Yoda came out of hiding because of Luke, because
Yeah.
Luke was there, and when the student showed himself, the master appears, right? Whatever the old saying is, I just slaughtered that. Sorry, but when the student is ready, the master will appear, right? And that's what that was. With this one, it is an interesting. I don't mind that Luke receded, and I honestly think the reason why he did was very, very interesting. It's a couple of the logistical elements of how they chose to direct some of these scenes that I think if they'd had a slightly lighter touch would have gone a longer way to me being like, wow, this is a heartbreakingly interesting story arc for this character. Him really tossing the lightsaber is a really big fuck you into the face of anyone who appreciates this character. It's basically saying like, hey, you're a Star Wars fan of old, fuck you, this is not for you anymore. And it's like, why would you do that? Why would you have to do that? Why? I get that you're done with this. Drop it.
Yeah.
Zanily tossing it over. Wing. Like where? Oh, there's a banana peel. You fall on the floor. Why? Give it back to her, or just or even a touch, like a nice shot of it just falling to the ground and him walking away would have been fine. I would have been fine with that. But him throwing it over and then just becoming this weird island bum is there were just a lot of dumb choices that could have actually been fixed in the editing, and I would have been totally fine with this.
I think that lightsaber scene is so important too, because it's like, this is Anakin's lightsaber, you know? Like, this is the lightsaber of the dude that you saved. Like, I just feel like that did not fit, like, a lightsaber you haven't seen since your arm got cut off, and that moment that you found out that this guy was your father. Like, that scene makes no sense to me.
But I mean, I understand what Ryan was going for. He was like, I want to make my own Star Wars film. And you see that in that, you know, when we end The Force Awakens, she finds this godlike being, this master all in white, standing on a hilltop, and she hands him the lightsaber, and the expectation is this guy's going to train her, right? And I think Ryan wanted to do something deeper with it. And you notice that immediately, which is weird as fuck, he goes and changes into a dark outfit. And like all the costume designs in this are very, very indicative of where the characters are at, like emotionally speaking.
Yeah. When Kylo was shirtless, like.
Oh, fucking A.
Yeah.
That was an interesting choice too. But anyway, we should get into the plot.
Yes. Go for it.
It's time for Nick to say the plot. Will there be a lot of sexual innuendos? I hope not.
Well, you're going to be wrong. Ladies and gentlemen, Star Wars Episode VIII, The Last Jedi. This scroll, Snoke, has decimated the peaceful Republic.
Crawl. What?
The scroll.
The crawl.
It's crawl. We call it crawl.
We call it the
I
crawl.
call it
Everyone
both.
calls it the
Everyone,
crawl.
like, you call me out when I say scroll. It's fucking.
It's a
the
crawl,
bro.
Scrolling text.
Scrolling text across the
crawl.
screen.
But I feel like it's like widely called the crawl.
A crawl is something you do
It's okay.
when
It's fine.
you need a burrito.
No, let's just move on. Let's
man,
keep
yeah.
going.
Snoke has decimated.
Let's argue about that.
I really don't care. I don't care what it's called. The text on screen. Snoke has decimated the peaceful Republic and is now taking over the galaxy. Only General Leia's band of resistance can fight them, but they need Luke Skywalker to come back and help out with a little bit of the old hope. Hope.
Yeah.
Very big theme.
A
in
new
this.
hope. That
Sparks
new.
and hopes and fires.
That old hope.
But the resistance has been exposed more than Leia on Jabba's pimp yacht, so now they got to bounce post haste down on the surface of, do we say Dakar? Is that how we say this planet's name? We'll say that.
Yeah, Dakar.
The
They're
piece
on
they
it for
resist
5
all
minutes.
scrambles to evacuate. Too late, motherfuckers. The First Order is here. And I love that shot. And by the way, I think that's Carrie Fisher's daughter, right?
Yes.
She
Billy
looks up and
Lord
she goes,
from
fuck,
Booksmart.
it's too late. And it just goes, whoosh. You see him, like, you hear the pop
Yeah.
of the Star Destroyers coming in overhead, which doesn't make any sense because you wouldn't hear it, but I fucking
No,
love
but
that
like
sound design.
I love hearing space sounds in space.
Oh,
I
it's
know
the
it's
best.
not possible,
It's the
but
best.
it's so good.
That's so rad. Up in space, General Hux orders the Dreadnought to blow up the base, but he's interrupted when a lone X-Wing fighter squares off against them, and that fighter, ladies and gentlemen, is none other than Poe Dameron
How fucking
and his trusty
hype.
droid.
What a
BB-8.
great shot, man.
So
When you
cool.
see the X-Wing coming up against the Dreadnought, you're like, oh.
And I'm going to say
that's
this. This is
crazy.
something I didn't notice before playing Jedi Fallen Order, but now that I have all the skins for my ship, I want to give a shout out to Poe for making his X-Wing black with like an orange stripe down it.
So cool.
dope.
It's
so
It
cool.
doesn't make any
His
sense.
first one
It makes
but
it faster.
It's fucking
Cooler,
rad.
man.
Yeah, orange stripes make everything faster. We know that. Poe and BB-8 prank call General Hux to buy time for Leia and her daughter to get off the planet. And this scene goes on for a really long time. And General Hux tells General Hux's first in command tells him that he's being tooled with. So they open fire. He's like, I think
love
he's
it.
tooling with you.
I
So-
love this.
I love it too.
yeah.
I think it's really strong character choices, and like I think that with the exception of the mama thing, it's like I like the story choices they make with it because it really sets where Poe is and where the whole first. Order is.
The only reason I don't like this is because they pushed General Hux's character into a very slapsticky.
I feel he was that Force Awakens as well, where it's like he's this character, this Hitler
He's a
caricature.
caricature, yeah.
Where he's
No,
just like, I am
think-
evil, and I'm going to say evil things.
I think he was in the Force Awakens. I think they were a little more subtle with him being this insecure, younger, in command character who's trying desperately to like exude confidence, while we all know he's just very insecure. In this one, he's the butt of a joke the entire time, and he doesn't. It's sad because it takes him, in my opinion, from being a slightly more three-dimensional character to just being this flat, like dumb caricature. And I just feel like tonally that doesn't work for it. Like you have to. He's not scary anymore. Now he's just silly. Now he's just Rick Moranis from Spaceballs, and it's like that would work in a comedy, but this isn't a comedy. This is Star Wars.
I do think that like all of that was necessary to have the moment later where Snoke is dead, and we have that like moment of power, like them fighting for the power, and him losing and cowarding so immediately.
But I think that moment would have been more powerful if you actually believed in any way, shape, or form that General Hux would have been capable of seizing control from Kylo. The second Snoke dies, you're like, yeah, Kylo's going to kill him because General Hux is this absurd character.
Well, there's the shot
that
of
is stupid.
Kylo knocked out, and he almost fucking shoots.
Yeah, he
him.
goes
It's
for the
like,
blaster.
I love Hux in this movie.
That's the thing.
I think
If he
he's-
was
I think
a
he's a
more
little extra.
I think if he was a more serious character, he would have gone for the blaster faster, and like Kylo would have been dead.
It was a cool rhyme.
Yeah.
I also like that with the subtitles on. I realized that he calls them hugs. Like
Yeah.
Hugs.
Yes.
It's really good.
And then again, while I really liked that touch of comedy at the very, very beginning of Force Awakens, I thought the reason why that worked was because it did really work to break the tension of that scene, and it was only one line. Who talks first? Do I talk first? You
Yeah.
talk first. And it was improvised, and you felt it. This, I feel like he was like, let's do that again, and it went on for a bit too long for my liking, but, it didn't go on. Poe puts it into high gear and starts taking out the surface cannons. I like this. I like the shot where he's like,
So
fuck
cool.
it, and just revs it and gets catapulted back into his
Yeah.
seat.
And
think
I
that's really
think
cool.
that who's the actor for Hux?
Domhnall Gleeson, I think.
Donald Gleason, yeah, he does a great job of emoting with his face, and you see the immediate sort of worry and concern when he sees Poe taking out all these surface cannons, because he immediately is like, "What the fuck is this little X-wing gonna do to
Yeah.
us? Like, are you kidding me? Take it out. It's gonna be super easy."
Well, also-
and he sees Poe expertly maneuvering around the surface, and he's like, "Oh my god, holy fuck!" like, I
but
gotta get this
also
shit under
like
control.
yelling at his team to be like, dude, shoot this guy down. And he's like,
Yeah.
he's too fucking small for us to actually hit with this.
I also saw a tweet that I want to call out that I guess one of the color compositors or one of the guys who helped out, he's like part of Rian Johnson's team. I'm totally doing a disservice and just making him seem like some random dude. But they mentioned that they make the interior of the Dreadnought red to make it look like a submarine and to differentiate the two ships.
They did that with
that's a really cool touch.
They did that with A Hunt for Red October. One of the reasons why when John McTiernan directed that, he was like, "How do we distinguish between three?" Because at one point there's three submarines, and they all look exactly the same. And so his DP was like, "Well, if we make The Hunt for Red October red, obviously, then we'll make the other ship, the American ship, blue, and then the other ship that's hunting them will be like green." And then and it's weird.
Yeah.
It's just a touch of light behind it, but you get immediately from that
what
light,
ship
your
you're on.
subconscious goes, "I know what ship I'm on."
Yeah.
It's a
That's
really
rad,
cool concept. And obviously the Empire being red is just fucking cool. Poe puts in high gear. He takes out all the cannons but one, or takes out all the cannons but one weapon, and he's like, shit, I gotta take this thing out, but his weapons get blasted. He goes, BB-8, go do your thing, and BB-8 goes down and starts plugging holes in the circuit board, and when that doesn't work, he just rams his head into it, which I think is kind of indicative for how this movie, how Rian Johnson approached this movie, but we'll move on.
Yeah.
The last ship, let's see, BB-8 plugs all of them. They take out that weapon, and then he orders... I'm sorry. The last ship leaves the surface, so Leia goes, hey, Poe, we're good. Stand down and return to the fleet. But Poe decides to disobey. He's like, we have an opportunity to take a dreadnought out here. This thing's a fleet killer. We can't pass this up. And then General Leia goes, nope, come back. And he goes, I'm just going to toggle this little button off. And then apparently everyone in the fleet listens to Commander Poe Dameron, not General Leia Organa, because apparently she can't just call the bombers herself and say, get back here and let him die. So they all come in, which is a cool scene. We see all of these incredibly slow-moving bombers start coming in, and one by one, because, again, they're incredibly slow-moving, they get just fucking decimated.
It's not one by one.
It's like all together, yeah.
One of them
Yeah.
gets decimated, and it like starts a chain reaction, which looks awesome. Looks really cool with the hue lights. It was dope. Amazing, yeah.
If I were the person that was in charge of buying the bombers, you have to imagine that the person that sold them these bombers was like, listen, I know you like Y-Wings. Everyone gets Y-Wings. But what about this incredibly slow-moving bomber? How would you feel about it? The Y-Wings fly fast. They fly fast. They're pretty. They're really effective. But what about these bombers?
They can.
You'll catch them off guard.
Yeah. they won't.
Very
they move,
slowly.
They're just like fucking Drax. They move so slow. You can't see them coming.
And I also love,
weird
this movie does a lot of weird stuff with, what we expect gravity and physics to be like. But, the bombs just sort of go downwards, which...
Yeah.
You imagine there's some sort of propulsion.
I totally
that
think it's
pushes them
fine.
down.
Like,
None of this shit bothers me. Like the
Yeah, me
bombers
either.
moving slow and all that stuff. It's like
The
all right,
only thing
fine.
that bothers me is later down the line where the medical frigate goes offline and it loses speed. Like that's
And it starts to list.
You're supposed
Yeah.
to keep
It goes-
going.
Yeah.
You're just supposed to keep
Yeah,
going
yeah.
at the same
There's,
speed.
I don't mind the direction of the stuff. I think this scene's interesting, but I do question like why would they like we've never seen one of these ships before, and I think we saw Y-wings in the prior movie. Like why wouldn't they just anyway?
I love the technology
what-
though. It's really, really coolly shot and interestingly made. Where it's just rows. Of
Yeah.
I think that's
When
so
it goes
fucking
down.
badass.
And when
Reminds
we
me of
get the
skee
shot
ball.
of Poe doing the fucking U-turn,
Yeah.
that might be the coolest thing I've ever seen in a ship.
Yeah.
It's
And then he
all the
so
X-Wing
takes
bad.
two
combat's great.
TIE fighters out. Oh.
Oh yeah, when he spins.
What I think is interesting is why would they shoot the base that's clearly evacuating when they must be able to see the fleet? This is a fleet-killing ship. Why not shoot the fleet?
You would also assume there might be some level of intelligence on that base that would be worth mining, like maybe where all their other bases are. I digress. There's one bomber left, and Poe's like, what are you doing? You're the last bomber left. And all of them are dead except for the one woman on it who was, I think, the gunner. And she goes up, she tries to grab the little garage remote control, but she can't, and she falls off. And then she kicks the thing a bunch of times, and in a very dramatic moment, catches it as it falls and launches all the bombs. And this one bomber takes out something the size of an entire city, which is very impressive.
Why do they keep making these ships where it's like, hey, man, that's going to be the weak point,
Yeah.
That's where we store all whatever energy it uses as
I
gas.
was totally fine with this, and I liked
no
it.
issues
I
with
felt
it.
tense with it. I was like, this is cool, with the exception of when we get the shot of it falling past.
Yeah.
And then she grabs it. I'm like, we
It
didn't.
felt- it
we
felt
don't
need
need
that
this
extra level,
little,
yeah.
like fucking thing. Like,
It was a lot.
It was a lot, and it also just didn't look like it made any physical sense
No,
from space.
that
Yeah.
thing was gone.
Gone.
Either way, direct hit, Dreadnought down, and I think they show the guy on the bridge of the Dreadnought, and he's just like, and then the whole thing blows up. Like, did the whole thing blow up, or was it just half of it and it stalled the ship?
No, I think it
the
all
whole
kind
thing
of
blew
Because
up.
the
Yeah.
fire starts coming, and then we get a shot of the guy who was, I
Yeah.
think, the captain or the general of the Dreadnought, and he just goes, ugh, and kind of turns away, and I'm like,
No, he-
I would be scared.
No,
Yeah.
he made this face of like, fuck,
Nah, I'm
like
dead.
they outsmarted
got us,
They
they
got
got
us.
us.
Yeah. I thought it was fine.
That's a very subdued face for there's a fireball that's about to come get me. Like, you'd think he'd run. Anyway, Snoke calls General Hux, and he is pissed, and we know he's pissed because he fucking slams Hux onto the ground and drags his dumb ass over to him, and that is awesome.
It's so awesome.
Awesome. What a great, interesting thing. And Hux is like, hey, don't worry about it. We have them tied to a string. And Snoke's like, I'm still going to throw you around like a rag doll because you're stupid. Over on the Resistance ship, Finn wakes up in a future wetsuit and starts walking around like morphine hasn't worn off yet. He wants to know where Rey is over on and so we go over to Rey over on Actu. Is that how we say this? Actu?
That sounds right.
Too.
So it sounds right. And the music is playing, and I love it. And the theme is amazing. And Rey hands Luke his lightsaber, and instead of thanking her or asking where she could have possibly found it since the last time he saw it, it was in his fucking severed hand falling thousands of stories from the Cloud City. He just throws it over his shoulder and walks away. And that moment is forever in cinematic history. Rey
You think
goes
she went
through.
down the hill and like picked it up?
Well, yeah, because the porgs start humping it. The porg comes over and is like, porg. It's just like, God damn it.
no.
Like, get out
God,
of here.
Nick.
The porgs is humping everything in this movie.
Are they Pokemon? Do they
they're-
say their name?
There's a part where
Their dicks
later
just
where
come out of their body. Like
did you guys see the
No.
deleted scene where
Like a
where
fucking
Chewbacca's
duck.
eating the thing and he looks down and there's two porgs just humping his furry legs?
Jesus Christ. God, what is wrong with you?
Everything.
Shout out to that shot though, where the one porg is on the lightsaber and it's about to like completely kill the other
Yeah.
porg.
And she
Love that
Like-
shot, and I just feel like they could have left the porgs at that shot, and then it would have been totally fine. But yet they joined us for the rest of the goddamn.
Hey, I
movie.
love the
Should
porgs.
we needed a
Do you
snack?
really?
I don't mind them.
You don't
They're
like
cute.
the porgs.
Porgs are like the Ewoks, really. That's fine.
No, the porgs are better than the Ewoks, dude.
No, dude, what?
Ewoks are at least
porgs are better than
did
the
shit.
Ewoks.
Ewoks
because-
are fucking killers, dude.
At
They
least-
took out
at least the
ATST
porgs don't like-
And that's
man.
my problem. Like the Ewoks shouldn't be taken out of ATST.
Yeah, at least the
walkers.
porgs weren't like the
Mandalorians
ones who
can
like
figure it out.
destroy Kylo Ren at the end
Yeah,
of this movie.
like,
you know?
the porgs aren't like important plot devices.
Hey, you don't know what the original draft called for. Maybe that throne room when all the fucking when the thing burned down, the porgs just came down. and started pecking at Snoke's face. That's how he got all the scars. Rey, of course, retrieves a lightsaber, and she does. I think we get a cool little shot here where she looks down and we see Luke's X-wing in the water.
So
which is fucking rad.
fucking
Very indicative
cool.
of it being landed in Dagobah. Chewie breaks the door down and tells Luke he's coming with them on the Falcon. And Luke's like, wait, the Falcon? Where's Han?
Get in the ship, Luke.
And it's a really,
Dude,
yeah,
that shit hit me hard.
That's hard.
man.
Yeah.
And you're like, whoa, why wouldn't you be able to feel that Han was dead? Aren't you one with the Force? And it turns out, no, he's not one with the Force anymore. And the Force is not with him. Snoke meets with Kylo Ren and tells him,
That's good, yeah.
what's that?
Interesting. Nick.
I liked it. That was good.
Snoke meets with Kylo Ren and tells him he once thought Kylo would be the new Vader, but now he's not sure because Kylo just got beat by a girl. You got beat by a girl. And it's like, okay. Kylo gets pissed and steps to Snoke, and then Snoke bounces lightning off the ground into him. Everything Snoke does here is fucking awesome.
cool.
Yeah.
He just bounces his ass. Like,
It's-
don't fuck with me, bro.
They did such a good job of showing that Snoke is so far above everyone in like the Force fighting skill. I mean, I guess not
Yeah.
fighting skill, but like he doesn't even have to touch a lightsaber to like
Something
immobilize
I did-
everyone.
I really like the Snoke stuff. I don't like the use of Palpatine's theme for him. I'm like, give him his own theme.
Maybe with the next movie.
Maybe.
you
But
know?
like with this movie, though, it's
Yeah.
like, this is weird.
I love his size.
Yeah, I like his size. I love the part where he's like, take that ridiculous thing off.
Oh.
He's like, why the fuck? It's such a thing you would say to your kid.
Yeah.
I fucking
Take
love
that
it, man.
ridiculous mask off. And he
Pull
does.
up your pants. Fucking get your hair out of your eyes, Andy.
Cut your fucking hair.
You have a
Andy.
job.
I
you know?
don't like how much Snoke makes Kylo seem like a little like mischievous, petulant kid. Where it's just like
You don't like it?
No, because like
I love it.
the
Oh, I
next
love
scene
it.
where he goes into the elevator and then destroys his helmet. It's such a like what a like.
I mean, that's what he was in the first movie, though.
Yeah, I
That's
mean,
the
I love
character.
that. That to
think
me
it's
is,
great.
I think that's an incredibly important moment for Kylo Ren because up until this point he's been playing Vader, and this is the first time he realized I'm not going. Like he literally tells him, "I thought you would be the new Vader, and I was wrong. You're not the new
Yeah.
Vader." And so he
It's
takes
such a
that.
slap in
He
the
takes
face.
that sort of homage that he's been wearing to his grandfather and just smashes it against the wall. And I think this is an important character moment for him because he's like, "Fuck everyone. Fuck the past." Fuck fuck all these people who think I'm supposed to be this thing, and fuck Snoke. I'm gonna do my own
You
thing.
understand me. Shout out to Andy Serkis
Yeah.
performance,
He's
and
great.
also the CG on Snoke's like whole head.
Yeah.
I think it's so well done, and it's
It doesn't take you out of it.
no, not at
for a
all.
second.
It's so like convincing. It's everything done. I love how his little fucked up little tiny mouth and his teeth are like it's just all animated so beautifully.
Back on Act 2, Rey makes an impassioned speak to Luke to come with him, but instead of finding a Jedi Master, she finds a broken man. She follows him down to the beach where he milks a giant sea cow who may or may not enjoy this activity.
The look that the sea cow gives him is so disturbing. Of like, save me, you know? It's just like,
see that-
oh, fuck.
but it's either that look or don't fucking judge me.
Yeah, it has those tones.
You know
to
what I
it,
mean?
too.
Like when it looks, I watched it twice, right? I watched it again on the plane ride back from Orange County. I was like, I'll watch this again just because sometimes when I write, I can't see everything.
yeah.
So I was like, I'll give it a shot. And I got right past that theme, and I have never looked a CG
Into his
character in the eye
eyes.
and like
Read it.
I know. You know what I mean? Like we know. Like I get you, man.
The vibe that I got was that the alien looked
needed it.
the alien looked at Ray and was like, "He's my bitch now."
Damn. Was this the scene where he went fishing?
Yeah, he goes spearfishing with
So,
a big fish.
I don't fucking understand the fishing thing.
Like,
I thought it was
why-
cool.
But here's my thing: is he doesn't have the Force.
Yeah, I know.
So why have him do this like ridiculously acrobatic thing?
No idea.
Because he's still got it, man.
But I feel like that is a weird choice
Listen,
that's at
dude.
odds with
I
what
feel
they're
like-
But how did he
telling
get
us.
the fish?
Listen, it's like when I tried not
He
to be funny,
stabbed
but
it
sometimes I'm
with a
just funny
spear.
by accident because it's in
And then
me.
pulled the spear
Yeah, but like,
for like an
Pulled
hour.
the spear up for about 10 minutes.
Yeah.
No, what he did was he pulled it way up and then goes, "Hey, can you go get that?"
And then stuck it back down.
I never understood this.
It's
whole
really
thing.
long. I think visually it's really cool.
it's visually cool.
And I love what he's
but-
wearing in this. I love that they put him in like the black parka and all that stuff. I just think that
The,
a lot of
the
the stuff's
physical
cool.
strength he must have to maneuver a spear that size.
Oh, yeah.
And then pull it up with a fish on it, not using the Force at all. Man, that's impressive. This is a strong man.
He's doing some Taibo on
Yeah.
this fucking
Oh,
island.
I-
I
100%.
I do want to give a shout out though, and I know people are hoping I don't say this, but I do want to give a shout out to when he drinks the blue milk. He goes,
Green milk.
green milk. Goes, and it's like
It's
why-
shocking
why-
how well you like when you
But
first
you
made
have
that,
to imagine that he
but-
got another take of that, right? Where he just squeezes it and then looks at her like, and then walks away.
Like,
and
this is
then,
my
and then he was
life.
like, you know what? We got all the good takes. How about one
Give me a
fun one?
fun
What do you
one.
want to do?
Give me a fun one.
And he goes, nah.
No, he doesn't.
And he walked
He
away.
does.
And
He
he walked away.
does.
He walked away thinking, there's no way Ryan will use that in this.
He doesn't make that face. He just does like a yeah, bitch. Like he does kind of like
He licks his
sorry,
teeth.
on our end.
He like licks his teeth and then fucking comes.
The funny thing is when Nick first started making that joke, I was like, no, it's not that bad. I feel like it's closer to that
I'm
than
with
not.
Andy. It's not like a fucking rabbit beast.
It is what it is. Later that day, of course, Rey goes to follow him back to the hut, and then she starts hearing voices calling her toward an old hollowed-out tree. Where, when she goes down there and finds this, she finds the Jedi textbooks, which I think have herbology and Fantastic Beasts and where to find them,
Yep,
and a
that's
bunch
all.
of other really cool books that you can get stuff in there. Luke,
Quidditch through the ages.
thank you. Of course, Luke.
Goosebumps,
I put a note
1 through
here.
3.
Literally, it was like look up Harry Potter books. Totally forgot to fill them in. Luke, of course, interrupts her, and he wants to know who she is, and she
Who are
says
you?
she's from no place, and she's like, but I've seen it. She's like, I know this place. I've seen it before, and I love this. Because he's like, who are you? She's where are you? He's like, where are you from? She goes, I'm from nowhere. He's like, no one's from nowhere. She goes, I'm from Jakku, and he goes, oh, well, that's practically nowhere. Yeah,
Love it.
It's a good
okay,
sign.
that's
Good
pretty
line.
much nowhere. Luke wants to know why she's here. And she says the Resistance Center, and he goes, no, why are you here? Why have you come to this? And she says, something inside of me has always been there, but now it's awakened, and I'm afraid. I don't know what it is or what to do with it. And he said, you need a teacher, but I can't be that. I will never train another generation of Jedi ever again. It's time for the Jedi to end. And she's like, it was a long trip. Out here. I should have called first. It's like when you think your parents are happy to see you, and they're like, this is not a good time for me.
Hey,
You're
look,
like,
you know what,
"Oh."
Luke? Just sleep on it. You know. We'll talk tomorrow.
Back over in space, Leia and the fleet come out of hyperspace, and Leia's not in good shape. She
Slaps him.
She slaps Poe across the face for disobeying her orders, and she's like, there are just some things you can't solve by jumping in an X-wing and blowing things up. And he goes, there was heroes on that mission. She goes, yeah, but no leaders. And that's interesting. And I like this
Didn't
because
she say like dead heroes?
Dead
heroes.
And it's like, ooh.
Dead heroes, no leaders.
No leaders.
Yeah.
And I like this a lot because for Poe, it's an interesting place to put him in.
Absolutely.
You can't be a hothead fighter pilot forever. Eventually, you're going to need to start leading from a more broad perspective, and he's not doing that. And I think this is a really cool moment. I think Oscar Isaac plays it well, where it's like he's not pissed at Leia because he views Leia as basically a mentor and mother figure. And he's like, shit, she's right. Like, I did the right thing, what I thought was the right thing, but it was the wrong thing. And I need to grow from that. And then when she dies later, he was like, wow, now I'm thrust into command and I have to use this. Oh, no, I don't get that. Someone else gets to come over from her prom.
Quick question. Did he do the wrong thing, or did he do the
Yes.
wrong thing until they found out that, like, because if they could follow them through hyperspace,
Hyperspace,
yeah. Wouldn't the dreadnought then be able to have destroyed them?
No, that's true.
Maybe.
Right? Like,
We don't
if
know.
he hadn't done this, I think they might have all been fucked.
Yeah.
Well, maybe, but at the same time, they didn't know that. So at the time, I mean, he disobeyed orders and he got a bunch of people
Yeah,
killed.
yeah.
And
But I'm just saying, like,
And it's not like Leia is like, I'm going to put you in jail because you killed your fighters.
Right.
It's
Just
I'm
demoted
demoting
him,
you
yeah.
because you did the right thing, but it's
Yeah. But I'm just saying, in
the grand scheme of
retrospect,
things you pull out, it was the wrong thing because we
Yeah.
lost all our bombers now. That was the other thing too. We lost a bunch of fighters, and she's like, our entire fleet of bombers is gone. And then Finn's like, don't buy those bombers again.
Yeah,
they're bad. They're bad.
Do we have any
bombers.
Y wings in there?
Yeah.
They're fast.
Or
no,
X-wings, maybe.
but I do think that, like,
Also, can't X-wings
Yeah.
bomb things? Didn't we see that before in the first Star
no,
Wars?
they were shooting like torpedoes, right?
Yeah.
Fair.
Ion torpedoes.
Ions, there it is.
Ion torpedoes. Before
That's
everyone
impossible.
can celebrate, the First Order catches up to them, and they're about to go to hyperspace, and we get an awesome shot where Leia just raises her hand. I think Carrie Fisher in this movie is phenomenal.
Dude,
everything she does in
compared to
here,
Force Awakens, it's
so
crazy.
fucking like her every time she's in a scene, she commands that fucking scene, and she just has this one moment where she puts her hand up, and the camera rack focuses to her hand. She's like, "They tracked us." And no one else realized that. She's like, how did they track us through hyperspace? And it's like there's a moment where a chill goes through you. You're like, oh, shit.
Fuck, we're
because there was
done. Yeah.
everyone will appreciate this. There's a very iconic episode of Battlestar Galactica, whose title I can't remember. But it's an episode where they have to keep jumping.
Yeah,
Because
it's a
someone
good one.
they can't figure out how they're being tracked, but they have to jump every like 10 minutes. And they're all
really
worn
cool.
out from it because they keep getting tracked. And they can't. It's this cool, great episode. This is what
Some
reminded me
facts
of.
for you here that fit here. Some Rogue One connections to Last Jedi. As Jyn Erso searches for the Death Star plans in Rogue One, she comes across preliminary information that reveals that the Empire was planning to develop the technology for the hyperspace tracking. And also in Last Jedi, General Organa's ship is called Radis, a direct reference to the Mon Calamari admiral who helped Jyn Erso and her team steal the Death Star plans in Rogue One.
Peruvian calamari?
Yeah.
Okay.
Of course, then Poe, and I love this back and forth.
Wait, quick question. Weren't all the plans then on Scarif for this device?
Yeah.
And then Scarif was blown up.
They had him backed up on a thumb drive, bro.
Okay.
Don't ask
Yeah,
questions.
all right.
Forget everything you know.
Sure.
Poe, without missing a beat. And again, I love this relationship between her because they can have this adversarial relationship for a second, but he looks over and goes, permission to jump on an X-Wing and blow stuff up. And she goes, permission
awesome.
granted. Like,
Yeah.
there is a time for it. Now is the time.
It's cool as shit, but again, I think it just goes back to, like, Poe never, like, he should have been kind of punished for that, right?
Put in the
Like, he
brig.
got demoted, but not really. Like,
Yeah.
But I mean, at this
he's
moment,
gonna go
it's-
right back out there.
Yeah, but at
and I
this-
do understand that, like, this moment is more important
they
than
need
your
fighters,
punishment. But they need fighters because you got a lot of ours killed. You know, like there's this weird back and
Well,
forth.
they
that-
need fighters because they followed them through the, hyperspace.
Yeah, but
know?
no, but on the flip side of that, it's like we do need fighters, and you're one of our best. But a lot of our people are also dead because of you.
Yeah.
That can't go out there that would have been able to fight otherwise. You know.
I'm just disappointed Poe wasn't like, hey, if the Dreadnought came out right there, we'd be fucked right now, guys.
Yeah.
Just saying.
Just saying. We lost some people.
Whoa, no Dreadnought. Who was
Yeah.
who was that? That was me. It was an awesome moment. I mean,
like, now's not the time, Poe. No, I think now is the time.
Maybe not so bad idea. Maybe undemote me,
promote me, you mean?
Well, yeah, but I feel like that, like, he can't get promoted because that would be like
Sure.
giving him,
Could've
a
gotten
prize.
promoted.
Undemoting just
of course.
takes away the punishment.
We get another great scene. I mean, I love Oscar Isaac. I think he brings such a good energy to all one of these scenes. He's like running, and BB-8's going next to him. He goes, "Don't wait for me to start the engine." And the B goes, and just razors off. And then, of course, second they walk into and it's sad because there's that one A-wing pilot who's like prepping. He's just got a cool little scarf on, and then like looks over, and then just Kylo nukes.
You know,
everything.
you know where she's from?
What's that?
Mission Impossible, one of the Mission Impossibles.
All right, yeah.
She's the one that Ethan Hunt, that guy, the
From
when,
Rogue
like,
Nation?
when, like he makes Ethan like
Oh,
Ethan's getting
in the
gas.
record store?
Yeah, Ethan's getting she's the record store.
Do you know who she's like kind of nodding to? Channing Tatum.
She's dating Channing Tatum.
No, she's nodding
not?
to Channing Tatum, who's also in the other like X-wing or whatever.
Oh,
Yeah.
Channing Tatum's in the fucking.
I did not know that.
Yeah, that's
Shut
true.
I
the
didn't see
front
that in
door,
anything.
Yeah.
guys. I think it's time to vote. This movie's number one. Number one.
What's
Let's
up with
see.
your little Fascinate website, Tim?
Yeah, I know. Gee, the only cameos I have, Joseph Gordon-Levitt voiced the alien that informed the police that Finn and Rose were illegally parked outside.
What a snitch.
Prince William and Prince Harry make cameos as stormtroopers, and Carrie Fisher's beloved French bulldog, Gary, makes an appearance in the casino.
That's amazing.
Joseph Gordon-Levitt also real good in
dude.
Dark Knight Rises.
He's great in
Watched
everything. He's
that
great in
movie
Brick.
recently.
Just watch Brick.
Also Looper.
Leia orders full engines ahead. If they get out of range of the Star Destroyers, the fighters will have to fall back. And then she senses Kylo and a TIE fighter above. We get to Kylo. This scene's gut-wrenching, in
yeah.
my opinion.
Yeah.
Like, he's noticeably conflicted. You see him almost pulling the trigger on him, and then
stops.
stops and lets up on him. But his two guys that he brought didn't come to fuck around.
Yeah.
Before that happens,
He goes into
yeah,
the ship.
He fucking flies
Which-
his ship into the good guy's ship and
blows up
fucks
the
them
hangar.
all up
Yeah,
and
that's when he
gets
blows
up.
up the
I mean,
So tight.
he does, like, who else did that? Anakin Skywalker, right?
What's
I mean, Anakin blew up the, like, same thing where the power
the
exploded.
Naboo,
yeah. The
control
Naboo,
ship
yeah.
or whatever? What's the name of his ship? It's the coolest name for the coolest looking
It's
sort of Imperial First Order / whatever ship. It's
Isn't
like it's just a cool name.
Wait, you're talking about the ship that he's the
His
TIE fighter?
His TIE
Or-
fighter,
Okay,
yeah. Like I don't remember.
There
the
used to be
exact name of it.
Vader's was like a TIE interceptor, and then there but his I think is something cooler.
It's
Yeah.
so much cooler.
And I love it because it's like simpler. It's just like one wing, 2 wings maybe.
just
Like
cool
a
as
Mac.
shit.
Anyway,
One wing, 2 wings, baby.
2 wings max. Thankfully, Kylo's
Oh, there
wingman
we go.
have
Silencer.
the TIE silencer.
silencer.
How
Fucking
awesome is
rad.
that?
It's really cool.
they have no problems. They blow that bridge up, and Carrie and Leia get sucked out into the cold vacuum of space, where a human being, even a fake human being, could probably exist for approximately 5 seconds. before
11
dying.
seconds till you die.
But that's not accounting.
Science with Kev. I'm Kevin.
Kev.
You would die real quick.
Real quick.
You gotta exhale.
Got the force.
All the air in your lungs. it doesn't want to be in your lungs in space.
It'll expand,
So
right?
you gotta exhale, and then your blood starts to
Boil?
all the oxygen in it starts expanding.
Wow.
Yeah,
Terrifying.
So it's
You knew
really
a
bad.
lot
So
more
you-
than I expected you to.
11 seconds is how long someone theoretically should be able to die. Also, I mean, live. Also, it's freezing cold. Like a number
She
that
looked
you
frigid.
I
guys
saw the ice on
yeah,
her body.
but like, I can't even a couple seconds of exposure without any sort of like she had like ice crystals all over her face, but that would be going on throughout her
She has
body.
the Force.
Yeah, sure.
That's Kevin. Yeah, and this leads to, I think, a scene that I've kind of been vocal about. I just hate the way it looks. It's awkward.
Nobody likes this scene.
The
Mary Poppins scene.
There was two people that like laughed in the theater and it was awkward. I was like, oh, what are they doing? But we do get that kind of cool imaging where she flies through the fucking ship's hologram, you know, like which is like a cool nod to what happens in the future of the movie where they light space through the or you know they light speed through the ship. You know what I
I
mean?
think
Yeah,
that's
yeah,
interesting.
yeah.
I'll have to go back and watch that
Snoke,
scene because
yeah.
this is a part of the movie that I black out. I just black it out of my
Yeah,
head.
I
It's so-
really
It's
don't
indefensible.
Like this scene, yeah.
Unbelievably dumb.
Yeah.
And doesn't make any.
Let me
like,
fix
it's
it. Let me
just
fix it
not
right now.
good.
Let me fix it right now. Boom! Hole explodes with her force. She uses her force, right? Her first force powers to create like a
Shell.
just a fucking wall of something, and she
Anything.
boom, hits it, knocks out, and she's out. And that's what this whole thing is just so awkward.
Or not even
man.
hit something. Just use the Force, and then once it's like cleared for a second, she just falls because that was a lot of like Baby Yoda.
Because yeah,
You know what I mean?
yes, because that's a good
And
tremendous
then
amount of effort.
also she's Baby Yoda.
Yeah.
She just looks over, Baby Yoda's drinking the tea. You're done good, kid. You're done good.
Yeah, I really like this movie, but this scene has always just been like, whoa, what was
the fuck?
like I like it for the character and like her first experience, like actually using the Force outwardly. But yeah, in my head, like I've always what I would have preferred would be something like where right when the like rocket or whatever hits, she holds the room and everybody in there, and then she passes out and they put up like a ray shield or whatever to like hold in like
Ray
the,
shields.
to like hold in like the
Yeah, just to-
explosion.
yeah, for sure.
Which they've done for many a times
Right.
throughout other Star Wars things. That's how I would have preferred this.
And I'm throwing this out there because when I saw it the first time, before I saw the Mary Poppins part, when I saw her die, I was like, "Fuck!
What a cool death.
What a
for her.
fucking gut-wrenchingly sad thing!" And what a cool moment for Kylo to realize
He didn't do it.
he
Yeah.
didn't do it, but because of who he is and his actions leading up to this, he allowed this to happen.
Yeah.
How fucking and then
to
like,
add more turmoil to
my
his,
God! And then Luke realizes that Han and his sister are dead because he could have helped that. What a fucking amazing!
And
thing to put
even
your
for-
He
fingers to.
thinks she's dead though, right? Like
Leia.
No.
Kylo.
Oh, Kylo? Yeah, I mean, yeah, well, he wouldn't know.
And that's what we all thought leading into the movie, because she had died before the movie came out. Like Carrie Fisher had died, so we thought, oh, this is how they kill her off.
Yeah.
That was I think in the theater watching that, seeing her getting sucked out, I think everybody at the same time thought, oh, that's how
Yeah.
they kill her off.
Yeah.
I mean, that would have been
Absolutely.
That would have been such a powerful choice.
Yeah, even for Poe as well, of like what someone was saying earlier, like she's kind of his mother figure, and like what she just left him off with of, yo, you're not being a leader in the way that you should be,
Exactly.
and like have him go through that.
This is what causes you to grow.
Like,
Yes, exactly.
Like literally a moment where, like done better in a better series, you see Harry looking up at Dumbledore and he goes,
Yep.
he just stops him.
Yep.
Don't.
Yep.
Like, this is it for me.
Yep.
There's nothing more you can do to save me. All the lessons I've taught you, you now have to go on and be a better person for that.
Right.
This is one of
What a
those.
cool
this,
fucking thing.
this is one of those scenes where I, upon rewatching it, because I saw this movie like 3 times or 4 times in theaters, just because it's so stunningly beautiful, on screen. But this was one of those scenes that every time upon rewatching, I'm thinking maybe it's better this time, maybe it's better, and it never does, and I never feel.
Music's good in the scene though.
Also, crazy that with a throwaway line, it's like, oh, Admiral Akbar is dead too, and it's like that.
Oh, that was the
it
biggest
just-
sin of all.
Really?
You gave Akbar a fucking off-screen death?
the dude's been in
Well, no,
6
I mean,
minutes
you
of
saw it.
Star Wars before this movie.
yeah,
Like,
but he's iconic.
How
as
many
shit.
other people have a meme? An internet meme?
Everybody.
Do you have an internet meme?
Everybody.
Do
has
I have
one.
an internet meme?
Yes.
Can you make a list of
Yeah,
those?
to go off of like your argument there, it's like then don't name him even.
Yeah.
Like they addressed it enough to be like he matters, and they're telling us he matters. Show us he matters.
But the problem is they're telling us he
I
matters
don't-
because
I
what they
just-
had to tell the audience was because everyone would be like, "What about Akbar?" Right? So they had to tell the audience Akbar's dead so that Hodor can come in, and you're like, "Who the fuck is this person?" It's very weird. This is again. These are some of those elements of the movie that I'm like, you're really putting a lot of holes in this plot that don't need to be here.
Putting
And they're serving
in this plot that
yeah,
don't need to be there.
but they're serving to really undermine the more powerful elements of this movie, which is like the actual
totally
character
agree.
development.
Hold door or hold door not.
You want to hold that door?
Will Andy make
She ain't
better
holding it
jokes
for
than
anyone.
that? We'll have to find out in a second because this episode is brought to you by Me Undies. By this time of year, the planners and Virgos of the world have checked off everything on their list, while the rest of us haven't started buying holiday gifts for people yet. You know what a good gift for people is, Andy?
Tell me.
Me Undies, man. I'm wearing them right now. Kev, you wearing them right now?
I got my pineapple
Andy's
ones.
wearing them right now. You got some avocados.
Because I've been buying, I swear I've been buying them a lot recently, Tim. I have like 8 now.
Yeah.
And then I saw they're selling these 5-packs and 10-packs.
Oh, yeah, man.
Oh, it's great.
You're
I want
living
more.
you're living
you
the
gotta
life
use
right.
the lounge pants. They're so comfortable.
more.
Or
I
the
want more.
onesies, you know?
Yeah, I just bought a new round of T-shirts on Black Friday. Very stoked about that. They make everything in this micromodal fabric, man. So soft, so fresh, so clean. MeUndies has a great offer for you guys right now. Any first-time purchasers, you can get 15% off and free shipping. This is a no-brainer because there's a 100% satisfaction guarantee. You can get your 15% off your first pair, free shipping, and 100% satisfaction guarantee by going to MeUndies.com/morning. That's MeUndies.com/morning. Step your undie game up, baby.
Step it up.
And also, shout out to HelloFresh. With HelloFresh, America's #1 meal kit, you can get easy seasonal recipes and pre-measured ingredients delivered right to your door. All you have to do is cook and enjoy. From step-by-step recipes to pre-measured ingredients, you'll have everything you need to get a wow-worthy dinner on the table in just about 30 minutes. Like a couple days ago when Gia made me that bibimbap, the Korean dish. Ooh, it was good. You can break out of your dinner rut with HelloFresh's 20-plus seasonal chef-curated recipes each week. You can add extra meals to your weekly order as well as yummy add-ons like garlic bread and cookie dough. You can get 9 free meals. 9 free meals with HelloFresh by going to HelloFresh.com/morning9 and using code morning9. The 9 is for the 9 free meals that you'd be getting. Yeah. HelloFresh.com/morning9.
Piggy.
No, that was Chewbacca.
What are we doing? I'm lost.
Finally, shout out to Upstart. As most of us have found out the hard way, getting into debt is easy. Getting out is hard, especially if your credit score isn't great. Thankfully, now there's Upstart.com, the revolutionary lending platform that knows you're more than just your credit score and offers smarter interest rates to help you pay off high-interest credit card debt. When Greg Miller was first moving to San Francisco, he had some debt issues. Upstart could have been there for him, could have helped him out. It can help you as well. Upstart goes beyond the traditional credit score when assessing your credit worthiness. They actually reward you based on your education and job history in the form of a smarter interest rate. Upstart believes you're more than just your credit score. They make it fast, simple, and easy to check your rate in just a few minutes. And the best part is, once your loan is approved and accepted, most people get their funds the very next day. You can free yourself from the burden of high-interest credit card debt by consolidating everything into one monthly payment with Upstart. You can see why Upstart is ranked #1 in their category with over 300 businesses on Trustpilot. And hurry to Upstart.com/morning to find out how low your Upstart rate is. Checking your rate only takes a few minutes and won't affect your credit. That's Upstart.com/morning. What y'all laughing at?
Oh, just people in the chat. Someone be like, Holdo's a great character and her costume is great. Immediately after, someone's like, I hate Holdo and her costume sucks.
Last Jedi.
Back to the plot, ladies and gentlemen. Hux orders the fighters back and then tells the audience the main plot device of this movie, which is as follows. The resistant ships are lighter and faster. While they can't outrun the Star Destroyers, they can stay at range, that makes the First Order's cannons less effective against their shields. Now I ask you, no, I'm not going to go into that. That's hate-filled. Jade. We're just going to delete this right here.
Here's my question,
We're going to
Nick.
delete it. We're going to delete it, Kevin.
Nick,
good job.
here's
Just
my
delete it.
question. Why don't they go... Okay, well, I guess we'll jump to light speed for like a quarter of a second and then be in front of them, you know?
A lot of different things.
And then-
you would also assume that
Then pincer move, you know?
Yeah, but I don't know. Like, I mean, is it? I don't know. I feel
Yes,
like it's
that's
kind
it,
of hard
that's
to
it.
navigate that. With, like,
What?
It's really not
Oh,
that hard.
all right, and it's like, okay, cool. It's hard to navigate, to jump
You know the trajectory
in
the
and
ships
out
are
of
going
light
in.
speed, or in and out of hyperspace, and land right there. Fine. Jump fucking 10 minutes that way, and then come back with, like, this is where it's going to be.
But also, you
I'm
would
saying there's other options to
Science
murder all
with
these
Kev,
people.
yeah.
You would assume that, by the way, like this, and this is the weirdest part about this whole thing. Like having a chase. Okay, if you it's done well in the movie, I think called The Chase with Charlie Sheen.
Charlie Sheen, oh,
right?
yeah.
Where it's like one car, bunch of cars behind him, right? Is one road. You can't go anywhere else because that was dumb because they probably could have cut them off too. This whole logic is stupid. But the assumption is that are we
There's a lot of
assuming
lanes in space,
are we
though.
assuming that the First Order only has 3 ships? Because I thought they were like this unbelievably
Yeah.
big galactic like. why not call more ships in that are faster and come take these things down? The idea that he literally says, we'll wait them out. We'll just wait. Seems so
It's such a movie thing.
dumb.
Yeah,
I mean,
it's such a
I-
bad
I
guy
think
movie.
so.
thing.
I think that it
Fucking
fits with who
dumb.
these characters
To
are.
me, if
the
it-
one problem with that though is Snoke. Snoke seems too smart for his own good, and the rest of these guys feel like they're little kids.
Also,
pretending.
Snoke, why isn't he just killing people from a distance?
Yeah.
Like he clearly can grab what's his face?
Domhnall Gleeson.
Yeah, Don
Hux.
Hux.
Yeah.
Am I saying his
Like
name
why
right?
doesn't he just
Dommel.
like I guess I'll kill them one by one. Dead.
Yeah, but that's
You know?
like, why didn't Palpatine fucking kill everybody too?
Because we never saw Palpatine. I mean, I guess we saw Darth Vader choke.
Or the
someone.
even dumber argument, why didn't they just fly the Eagles to Mordor? Like, guys, like, come
Yeah.
on. Like, it's
Andy, there's a solution to that argument. The ring,
watch the movies are great.
the ring
That's the
would
solution.
seduce the Eagles. The Eagles almost as strong as the Wizards.
Eagles are their own race. They're very
No,
smart
I know, but I'm
beings.
saying that they're almost
They're
as
not about the
powerful.
trees.
All right.
Let's talk about the trees.
Really quick,
And suck.
for me, this felt like the Tarkin moment at the end of A New Hope, where someone's like, "Oh, like we need to go evacuate," and he's like, "In our moment of triumph, like no, like we've got this." This felt like this, where it was like, we don't need to put in more effort. We've won, so fuck it. Like we'll wait them out, couple hours. whatever.
My only problem with that, well, a lot of problems with this, is that if you had just gotten your face slammed onto a fucking ground and pulled over to your boss, who literally could kill you like that, wouldn't you be like, guys, we don't have 2
We need-
fucking
we have
hours.
urgency.
Get this
We need
fucking
urgency.
gun now,
Yeah.
or this guy's going to kill me. He's gonna fucking murder my face with his fucking hologram
He's gonna
image.
tear my skull apart.
Yeah,
Another
like, we'll just wait him out, guys. We're fine. Snoke will be cool with that. I don't think he's. The guy should turn to him like this. I don't think he's gonna be cool with it. Like, we should probably get those.
Well,
shits
yeah,
now.
we shouldn't give him 6 hours to figure out a solution right away, right?
Here's the other problem with this is that as a plot device, you've isolated your characters. Okay, that's scary, right? They're stuck in this driving in this one line. If they stop, they die. It's like we'll say it's like
The Charlie Sheen movie, the Chase.
exactly. Like no, I was gonna say it's like it's similar to like a Nightmare on Elm Street, right? If you fall asleep, you die, right? But then later in this, we're going to see that there's characters that could just come and go from the ship as they please.
'Cause they're in
So it's
small
almost
ships.
like
They're in
if you
small
sleep,
ships
you
that aren't
die.
infected.
But if you go down the street from Elm Street, you can take a little nap and you're fine.
Well-
It's like, well, then move the fuck out of Elm Street, right? You know what I'm talking about? There's so many different things that very simply destroy the thin veil of this stupid plot device that they have. That this low speed chase through. Also, how are they if they're pulling away? Like if they're fast enough to outrun them, wouldn't they just eventually pull away so far that like?
Why don't?
I guess they catch up eventually.
I mean,
as they
I
run out
don't,
of fuel.
I don't understand any of the
s-
how they
the
kept the
space
distance.
logistics?
Yeah, because
It's
Why-
a very
it doesn't
cool
matter.
idea if you don't think about it. But if you think about it for 1 second, it is not cool anymore.
But unfortunately, this movie.
I don't think it's a
So,
cool idea.
I think it's an interesting idea.
Got some X-wings outside.
I
Jesus.
think it's an interesting idea. And when they first started, I was like, oh, they're going to do this for a few minutes, then figure out how to get them out of this. It starts to really fall apart quickly when we were here for 2 hours coming back to this slow space chase. You're like, somebody somewhere would have figured something else out to kill these people. Like, this is just. Anyway.
Before we move on, I do want to talk about something that Nick kind of touched on when we started talking about this. This did make it seem like the First Order is tiny. It seems like there's a line where they're like, get all our ships here. So how big? Because one of the cool things about the Empire is like,
They just had resources, man.
I mean, infinite resources. It seemed like
they were
you know.
they were the Germans. They were the Nazi Empire.
Yeah.
Like, we have taken over half of the planet, and we have this incredibly dominating force. And in this, you're like, is it just 4 ships and stuff?
That's one of the weirdest things about the sequel trilogy that I wish had a couple more lines of dialogue that would just explain the scale of both sides
right.
a bit more.
Yeah, because they said
And
they
like-
took,
we
in the
get-
beginning of this, like they took out the entire Republic. You're like, from 3 planets?
Well, no, but
That was it? Like,
they took out the center of the Republic, like where all the
guess,
decisions,
yeah.
like they took out the Senate, the new Senate,
Pulsean system
That's
or
all.
whatever. But yeah,
and it was
with-
a whole system. Yeah, right.
And like, why is it the Resistance and not the Rebellion? Like, why would they officially change the title? But then Luke calls them rebels at some point in this.
They need a new logo.
well, Luke doesn't know. He
And it's
didn't
the same
know.
logo. though.
merchandise, dude.
But it's the same rebel thing.
They changed the. I mean, people don't remember when we changed it from Game of Greggy podcast to Kind of Funny podcast, including me when I host it. So it's very hard. It's very hard. Game of Greggy show. Mm-hmm. I got that wrong
God.
too. All right, back on Act 2. Chewie eats a porg while his family watches. Nice
In
try,
horror.
porg. You thought you were cute. Let me introduce you to my new friend, Baby Yoda. Fuck off, everyone. He's way cuter than your stupid little porg asses. Luke
I hated
sneaks.
that the legs were still on. Like that just made it seem like such a joke, you know?
I like the pork stuff, but I'm a sucker for small like feathery
I
animals.
hate
Meanwhile, while Chewie's outside, Luke takes it upon himself to sneak onto the bridge of the Falcon and takes those little gold dice that are hanging from the rearview mirror, and then R2 comes to life and
You
and
mean these gold dice?
Wow.
put them in my hand. Let's see if they disappear by the end of the episode. Boop, right on my butt.
Ew, why would
I have
you do
those
that?
too. Daniel Kennedy gave them to me.
These are cool.
I don't know. I got them when we went to watch the movie. I didn't want them, but I felt like it was rude to be like, no.
A lot of people. This is one of those elements also that a lot of people talk shit about, and I was like, I don't care. Like, okay, there were gold dice hanging there. Did we see them in the original trilogy? I don't remember. I'm sure
I
they're
think
there
there's
somewhere.
a shot.
It's like a promo image of the original movie.
I remember that
didn't
being
mind
one of
this.
your big joke talking points.
Was it?
Well,
Was
they-
that- well,
What
because
was the dice?
I wish they were
upon
the
second
dice.
watching, I was like, it was. I obviously you bring in something different. Again, I knew it was going to happen in this, so I could focus on other elements of the movie. When he walks onto the Falcon, I got emotional. I was like,
Oh my god, yeah.
I was like, fuck. And then he takes the dice off slowly and then looks over, and who does he see? R2D2. And I'm like, son of a bitch.
Yeah.
And then R2D2
You're tugging
turned
him, man.
No future spoilers. We'll talk about this next week. But it's like watching this movie. I don't think the dice are an issue, but
Yep.
with the next movie, the dice are 100% an issue.
100%.
That might have been where I had the harsher criticism. But
But we'll talk about that next week.
We'll talk about it maybe in the future. Of course, R2D2's like, yeah. And I love he's like, whoa, it's a sacred planet. Watch the language.
Yeah.
I think that's great. And I think they nailed the scene. And then he's like, I don't want to go back. There's nothing you can do to go back. And of course, what does R2 do? Shows him the
Dude,
original
Oh,
message
dude.
that Leia sent to Obi-Wan Kenobi. And he was like, that
His
was a
line.
cheap move.
You
That
got
was
me.
a cheap move, man. And of course, this is
I
what,
like Luke's acting in a lot of this.
Yeah.
I thought
Yeah,
he's
yeah,
really
yeah,
good.
Mark
yeah.
Hamill's
Well,
acting in this
yeah.
was fantastic. The weird face,
Yeah,
a little
there's-
bit weird.
there's some
but
over the
besides
top
that,
ones.
I think he really killed it. I just didn't like
there
it.
are a couple moments where he dips into trickster territory. Just a couple. Because he has that, like, he almost goes Joker or trickster with it, but it's like,
What's the trickster from?
that's from the CW show. I forget which one he played the trickster on, I think, Flash.
Yes.
say?
Yes.
No, fucking Jesus Christ.
Great.
I forgot about this
I
guy.
did too.
I don't, by the way, no one asks for this. You know? Like, did you ask him to do this again?
Oh, here we go
There
with
it
the
is.
wheeze.
How's it going, Andy?
Hey, how's it going?
Enjoying this?
Yeah, man.
Andy.
This movie stinks, man. Oh my god.
Now, Watto, does it stink? Does it stink because it has a decisive lack of Watto in it? Is that why?
Number one reason it's bad. No water. Number one reason it's bad. Tim.
Yeah, yeah.
No water. All right.
Every microphone.
What's the number two
Tell
reason?
you right. Number
That's not true.
Yeah. Also, no Watto? Is it also that there's no Watto?
It's a bad movie. What are they doing? I don't like you, Nick, but you nailed it in the beginning of the interview. You say, hey, they saw the movie. They do these cool things. Is she gonna go bad at the end? No, it's the same fucking. What was the point of the movie?
Wow.
true.
Watto, a really good like movie critic.
Why does a lot of free time to watch Netflix?
If you guys keep me, if you keep me in the prequels in the basement over this, you know what I'm saying?
Thank you, Watto.
Thank you, Otto. Thank you. To be clear, I don't know what you're saying.
Didn't expect him to walk in and say, "This movie stinks."
What is wrong with that man?
This movie stinks. Okay.
Let's see. He tells Chris wakes Rey up and tells her that he will teach her 3 lessons, and then at the end of it, he's going to teach her also why the Jedi needs to end. And she's like, "Is that 4 lessons that you're teaching me, or is
Sounds
the
like
3rd
it's 4
lesson why that?"
lessons.
Because it sounds like it was confusing for me. Back at the fleet, someone we've only seen once before tells us that Leia is unconscious but recovering. That's good. Unfortunately, Admiral Akbar is and all the top brass of the Resistance were totally killed in that blast. So now Vice Admiral Laura Dern is taking over, and this would have been really interesting set of circumstances to thrust Poe in, like I said before. And you almost say that where they tease it out, where they're like, "It's the chain of command," and he's like, "Is it going to be me?" Even though you're like, "No,
Why would it
fucker,
be
you're a
you?
commander.
Yeah,
Why would it be you?"
You're so low down.
Yeah, really. There's got to be more people. Also, she's a vice admiral. We had Admiral Akbar. We have a bunch of generals. How many fucking admirals does this fleet have? Because there's only like 10 ships.
Yeah.
Well, Admiral is, if I'm not mistaken, in the Navy, an admiral is like the commander of an entire fleet.
Yeah.
So like you would have
It's Space Admiral.
you would have an
The
admiral
space
who
is
is
in
like,
parentheses.
but
Yeah,
like
it's an old
in
saying.
World War II, you had an admiral that was in charge of like the Pacific Fleet, right? which
space,
is like
no one can hear you
40
breathe.
or 50 ships, something like that. Anyway, there's like admirals everywhere. It's true.
I mean, it's not inaccurate. It's just not iconic.
Like here, no one can hear you breathe.
Scream it. Scream.
And it's interesting because we, like, thematically, I thought, like, oh, they're setting this up for Poe to have to take over. Similar to, like, when in Aliens, not to go back to Andy's bad joke earlier, but I'll make a salient point here, which is like in Aliens, everyone gets wiped out, and then they go, who's in charge? And it has to be Hicks because he's the highest in command. Like in wartime, so it's like he's like, fuck, I don't want to do this. This is a horrible situation to be in. And then he and Ripley kind of almost make out. And you're like, why would you make out, man? You might die tomorrow. Just make out.
Yeah, just fuck it out. Just have sex.
Anyway, it's not him, despite having all signs pointing to that. It is General Laura Dern, and they just dragged her out of the prom she was having over on the ship Ninka. 400 people are left in the Resistance, but we're not alone. In every corner of the galaxy, people are oppressed. We are the spark that will light the fire that will restore the Republic. And everyone's like, fuck yeah, Hodor, let's go.
Let's do it, guys.
Maybe change it to something a little more appropriate for war, though.
I do like that.
Would you want armor?
I mean, pants. Something you can run in?
What? Where's she running? She's on a ship.
Let's put it this way: in The Force Awakens, they were like, Leia is a general and she's a wartime general. Like, we're gonna put her in like the same outfit that everyone else gets to be in. In this, she's in a ballroom gown. You're like,
She's more like
weird.
Queen Amidala in this sort of thing.
But it's war.
I had no problem with her outfit. I just like
No.
I just
you want to be
like,
comfortable.
Yeah, whatever. Yeah.
You know?
I mean, then can I wear PJs and like slip
absolutely.
slips?
Like Snoke?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I do
Exactly.
like that
That's right.
Oscar Isaac's reaction to her being named was kind of the same reaction I had as well. like,
Like who?
Who?
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh, they tried to sell it, but it was like, from the battle of
I'm glad
so
you
and
got
so.
that, yeah.
Oh, she's different than I expect. You can't just have a character tell another character that a character's cool. It doesn't work that way. Anyway. It doesn't matter.
I don't know,
Anyway,
great speech though. Like I
so
thought,
she
Yeah,
gives
it's
a
a
great
good speech,
speech,
yeah.
and you're like, cool. That's the person from Jurassic Park. That's great. So,
Then they're
like,
like,
everyone, she's like, okay, everyone break. I'm like, wait.
what's the plan?
How are we getting out of this situation? Because I think that might be a really interesting thing for you to tell the entire fleet right now,
Yep.
especially since we're all really fucking scared.
And trying not to
you
die.
are now our leader. So how are we getting out of this? And then Poe's like, okay, maybe I don't want to embarrass her. Maybe this is the first time giving a speech. I'll pull her aside like one does. You know, sometimes you don't want to call your boss out in front of everyone. You pull him aside and you say, Nick, you're making eye contact with me a lot.
Yeah.
And it's turning me on.
No,
What are we
no
going
one
to
has
do?
ever
about
said
this?
that.
No
That's
one
the
What are we
opposite.
going to do about
That's
this?
the
no one has
opposite.
ever told you this.
No, okay, so Poe pulls her aside. Of course. And he asks her plan. And then she tells him to go to his room. He's been a bad boy. You are a bad boy. You don't deserve, even though you're literally a hero of the Resistance and
Yeah.
have multiple times saved
Even
people's
now,
lives.
with the
even though
Dreadnought.
you literally
Again,
led
he's
the
not
fucking
bringing
team.
that up.
You led the team that destroyed the Star Destroyer, the new Star Destroyer, or Death Star.
Starkiller Base.
You're still a piece of shit. Go away. You made one mistake. One mistake you've made in the last 10 years of fighting for the Resistance.
But again,
and that
worked out
makes
real
it
well,
so
I
that
think.
I will never fucking tell you. You go sit in your place, Flyboy. I'm in charge.
Yeah,
now.
it's trigger happy flyboy. I'm like, they should fuck, right?
They had a moment though where she looks at me, she's like, I've known guys like you before. I'd be like, tell me more.
yeah.
Tell me
Like,
more.
this was true in Force Awakens, and it's true here. Poe Dameron has sexual tension with every
Everyone.
Yeah.
person he talks
Like
to.
even BB-8, and I'm like, fuck, just fuck already. 'Cause remember when he runs to me, he's like,
Yeah.
BB-8, where have you been? I was like, oh, shit.
Why would you grab me like
Stroke
that?
the ball. Give me the soccer ball.
Stroke the ball.
I'll kick it down the pitch.
Milk that ball, you know?
Milk that fucking ball. She tells him to go fuck off, put it in place. Then
But-
Finn
You know who you haven't mentioned this entire thing?
Rose.
Finn and Rose.
and Rose. Oh, by the way, we are 38 minutes into the film. Wow. When we
There's 2 hours left?
Well, we got a lot of time. We should probably speed it up. But we meet Rose Tika now. As
Wait.
Finn tries to sneak into it.
Real quick. Do you guys get the sense that she didn't tell anyone else the plan also? Because
I think her top brass knew. And again, I
But here's
don't mind
the-
that
we
she's
know-
like, I don't know you. I like if the scene had said something else where she was like, but she just slaps his wrist like a child, and you're like, why? This guy's a commander in your army. This is so heavy-handedly like, I don't know what the fuck he was trying to do with this. And it makes, in my opinion, I'm like, this makes sense if she's a bad guy. If she was like some weird first order plant, everything she does in this is like telling the audience that she's a bad guy. And then at the end of it, she's like, no, I was just doing it because, and then Leia has one throwaway line that's like, she was more interested in, and I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about?
Yeah, I didn't
Why
like
wouldn't
any
she
of
tell-
that.
It's
is
also
going
a weird
on?
lesson. We're getting to the end of it. It's just like, so this movie has a big thing about like, you don't need to be the hero.
Yeah.
But
then
then Laura
she's the
Dern's
hero.
like, her whole
Yeah.
plan is to be the hero.
Yeah.
Also, so I was gonna say, we get Lord. What's the girl's name?
Admiral
Lord.
Hodor.
We get Billy Lord
Eilish.
that is clearly like in cahoots with Poe.
Also fucking Poe. They're all fucking Poe.
Oh, they're definitely all fucking
Yeah.
Poe. But like, she's in the command room. Why would she not know the plan and be like, "Hey, Poe, chill the fuck out"? She actually has a plan.
I know. Don't they have a line in this where like once you're on a ship, everyone knows everything that people are doing? Maybe that's a different movie I watched.
Movie you watched.
But you would assume that like
Movie was that?
That's very like specific.
I don't know, but like
It doesn't matter. We can keep going.
it doesn't matter. But like, there's no secrets on this ship.
Don't they have a line of like, "I'll be back," like right? Like,
Isn't there part where the guy walks back in and is like, you would think that someone would tell him the plan.
I kind of get the
That's a good
feeling that
point.
she didn't have a plan.
my immediate thought was.
It all was luck at the end where she was like, "Oh fuck, there's a base."
In
right
my
there."
first viewing, I think my immediate thought was, oh, she's really undercover and she's kind of working for the First Order and something sinister's afoot here.
Like that's what
But
you
I
would
guess
think,
not, yeah.
right?
No, I know.
And of course, let me put it this way: if you're running a war, and you ever want one of your underlings to completely create a mutiny, talk to him like this.
Yeah.
Be like, we're in a life or death situation. You don't need to know what we're going to do. I'd be like, fuck you. I'm going to take charge then because you clearly don't know what the fuck you're talking about. FYI, but it's like asking for a mutiny if you treat people like that.
I do think that like everything that follows this is because she didn't talk to the team. Like her plan would have worked, I think, had she just explained it to anyone.
Yeah, a better way to have handled this.
It was a good plan.
A better way to have handled this would. I mean, I understand what he was trying to do. This was supposed to be character development for Poe. Poe's whole arc in this, I think, could have been stronger. But it's actually pretty interesting because it's about taking him from being a rogue pilot to being a leader of the Resistance, right? And I love that. I think that's really, really cool. But the fact that she undermines his authority and treats him like a child in order to do that, I think is just completely stupid. How much cooler would it have been if in order to get away, they did have to go take out the tracker, which would have been a lot smarter. And then he had to then make the decision of like then going to sacrifice himself to go and do that. That's a much stronger thing. But instead, everyone else just goes off on their own and nobody accomplishes literally anything, including Hodor, whose plan totally falls apart the second they look out the window and go, hey, there's some ships over there. Like, kill them all, blast them all.
Another question I have is there no way to consolidate whatever power source they have so that these ships that are going to get destroyed that are like running out of fuel, couldn't they not give their fuel to the big ship and then somehow use that to
Well,
go away faster?
And this is okay, we're getting in the weeds. Let's move on because we're only 38 minutes in this movie.
Yep,
but I do want to say that these transports that left the surface of the ship, why did they have to dock with the bigger ships? There was like 80 of them. Why not put everyone in a transport and just send them out
Different areas.
to 50 different directions and go rendezvous at whatever base? Done.
There's
Gone.
15 ships of the bad guy, and that seems like that's all their fleet.
Yeah,
Whatever,
these
whatever.
guys only have 3 ships. At best, they can follow 3 of us. At best. At worst, Snoke just goes and takes a shit. Finn tries to get off the
Nails
ship,
it.
and then Rose is like, hey, I've had to stun a bunch of people, and my sister died. And are you trying to get off the ship too? Oh, no. I was super excited at first to meet you in Starstruck, but now I'm going to stun you. And they're like, okay, you're in an interesting place. Your sister just died, and you were so gung-ho this resistance. Okay, sure.
I do love the "May the Force be with you." And, whoa, I love
Yeah.
that little back and forth.
I mean,
It's really cool.
she is like the personification of the fan meeting, right? Like,
Yeah.
See,
this legend.
Rose's character is very interesting to me because this scene, I enjoyed it, and I enjoy all of that stuff and making Finn. It works for both of them. It's her growing, and it's also Finn being like, oh shit, I
was going to do something
yeah,
weird.
and like fuck, I am something special. This is important. But then it all is thrown out at the end when she saves him. Yeah, I guess saves
saves
him
him.
from dying, right? And that whole thing is weird, and I feel easy to criticize. But my problem with it is when she does the line, it's like we're fighting for the things we love, not the other.
Yeah,
whatever
we
the
don't want to
fuck.
kill the things we hate. We should be saving the
That
things we
I
love.
feel could have been very powerful and strong and worked for all of their plot and characters and arcs. But then they kiss, and then it's like when you
Where did this come
add
from?
romance to that, it's like that
It's
changes
fucking
the
weird.
meaning of what you just said.
Well, not only that,
Not
but
only-
like, am I crazy in thinking that Finn and Rey were like,
yeah,
starting to like each other? What a weird.
I felt that way.
What a weird thing to tell the audience. Like, oh, now is there like a love triangle that's
No,
gonna happen?
there
here?
isn't.
The bigger criticism I
She
have
just
is
shot her
that
shot, you know.
the bigger criticism I have is that Rose's character has absolutely zero arc. She is exactly the same person at the beginning as she is at the end. She is ride or die, hope,
She's a boyfriend
resistance, all this stuff. And then at the end, she's still hope, all this stuff. Cool. I think it would have been a lot more fascinating to see a person who was broken because her sister just died, and then through the actions of having to save people, revitalizes her hope in this resistance. But in no point does she's just a straight line the entire time, which makes her a very boring and ultimately pointless character. Because as we're about to see here, they figure out that there's a tracker, and they're being subspace tracked largely because they say a lot of words. And then
A lot of words.
And then Poe goes, "Cool. Well, you guys should go off on this mission. Meanwhile, I'll stay here and do nothing. I will stay on this ship and do even though I just got slapped on the wrist and I have zero confidence that this person's going to save us. You, person I just met, who I have no fucking idea who you are, you go take this incredibly important mission into hand with Finn. I'll stay here and do nothing." And they give him nothing to do for the rest of the movie, except for a small mutiny that just goes horribly wrong. But when they stun people, it is the circle thing, and that's really cool.
Yeah, it's a cool little raid.
No, I wanted to say one more thing about. This is another moment where it's like the characters act so stupid and movie-like, where it's like when she's like, "What are you doing?" and he just tries to make up some stupid lie. Why not just be like,
I'm going to get Rey.
I'm going to get Rey.
Yeah.
I have this beacon, and like that seems like a real thing. Even if like he's going to get Rey to run away, like he doesn't have to disclose that part.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot, and that's what I'm talking about when I talk about like a lot of this. The themes are great, but the actual logistics of getting characters from point A to point B are just stupid. They're just dumb. Like if I watch a scene and go, I have 5 questions as to why these characters are doing what they're doing, that's bad writing.
Yep.
Anyway, they figure out that the First Order has some sort of hoodinky MacGuffin, and we got to go take that MacGuffin out. And Rose is really smart, even though I guess she's an engineer, so that makes sense. Finn's really smart because he mopped around there. How much does he know about the First Order?
He knows everything. But it's funny because
did he work on Snoke's ship? Because I don't think he worked on Snoke's ship. When we found him, he worked on Kylo's Star Destroyer.
You got to imagine that's all bullshit. Because in Force Awakens, we get the moment where they actually land on Starkiller Base, and he's like, I don't fucking know shit about this. I'm gonna go try to save her, and so I got to imagine that he was just bullshitting again.
Either way, Poe is still hurt that Admiral Laura Dern put him in his place, so he decides not to tell her that they're playing. And Rose, having just proved to us that she is a stickler for the rules, goes along with this plan. Just goes along with this plan of like, you don't want to tell our commander that we're going to go off and basically commit an act of almost treason because we're disobeying her orders.
This could get us caught, guys.
I'm cool with it. Really? Because you just stunned him for... I get it. It doesn't matter. And then, in fact, the only person they do tell about the plan is C-3PO, and we all know he ain't telling anyone. Because you're going to get got if you fucking talk.
C-3PO knows how to keep a secret.
Get got. Let's see. I mean, again, this would have been an interesting... I think what this needed for it to be more believable to me is that they actually presented this plan to Holdo, and she was like, no, I have a plan, and then there's more tension there. But instead they just go, let's just go off on that.
I won't tell you the plan.
Let's see. Oh, and then they go
in the office, or he's like, I have a 3-step plan. Oh, well, what is it? I mean, you think I'm going to
Yeah.
disclose these secrets right here?
So they figure out they got to get through the security of the ship, but guess what? We don't have anyone that can get us through the security of the ship. So we have to go. Who do we call? I know. Let's call Maz Kanata. She could probably do it.
Cool.
But it turns out she's busy.
Oh, no, she can do it. But, negotiations, and she's in the middle of this thing. But here, let me pull up this image of this dude that you're going to find, but I don't have the picture of the dude. Here's the pendant he's going to wear.
I have a picture of the pendant that he's going to wear, but not him.
This whole hologram thing reminded me of sort of like the intro video to when you go on a theme park
Oh
ride.
my god, dude! I was just thinking the same
Yeah.
fucking thing. That is exactly what it is.
Do you guys think that there were plans to make that a movie?
Not
Because
a
like
mo- not
that
a
to me,
movie.
that's what it felt like. Of like, oh, okay, cool. They're gonna expand that someday, and then like we're gonna
Into
see
a
the other
tie-in
side of that
comic, I
scene.
would say.
This was a... This,
Huh? What?
I would say just into a tie-in comic or some shit.
Yeah, some
Yeah,
bullshit.
maybe.
Whatever.
This was
But
to
it
me
feels
was
like a tie-in.
This to me was is
Maz,
bad.
call us back because you're in danger.
Yeah. Like
We can wait a little longer.
I hate this. Anyway, so they have to go find this guy on this planet. Meanwhile, Rey and Kylo link up, and Rey tries to shoot him, but she misses and puts a hole in the wall. And because he's like millions of parsecs away on his cool ship. He tries to mind trick her, but it doesn't work. And then Luke interrupts the scene and Rey lies about blasting a hole in the wall. Why not? He's only the guy that you are asking to be your mentor. Why not just completely lie to him about that?
I love all this.
Dude, all the Kylo and Rey stuff.
It's very, very good.
It's so well written. It's so well acted. They do such a great job of showing each other's inner turmoil with where they are in their lives right now. It's so fucking well done.
I agree. And I think this is the scene. If it's not this one, it may be the next one where it's raining and he looks at his hand and there's water.
He
on
wipes
it.
his face.
Oh, is that what he did?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's really
Just,
good.
that's cool. That's right, because it like drops on him.
Oh.
It's really cool. Luke takes Rey up to his meditation rock and tells her that the Force is an energy that binds all things. He tells her to reach out, and when she does, literally he whips her hand, which is funny. She's like, "Oh, you didn't mean reach out. You mean like reach out with my feelings." And he's
Again,
like,
I thought this was
damn it.
another moment where it's like the comedy does not work.
I
the
didn't
way
mind
they're
it
doing
here.
I liked it.
I think he's trying to prove a point that I think
It's because I like her reaction.
Well,
to
the
that. She
point
goes,
is
oh
that-
my god!
But I think the comedy works here only because of what he says next, which is that it's all building up to the line where he says, let's see, or you reach out. She reached out with feelings. He wants
This
her to reach out with
sequence
feelings.
is really cool.
She feels it, and he goes, "You feel that? It's that." He's like, "The Force is
not
an energy. It's in the galaxy. It's an energy. It's a force. It's inside of you. It's the same force, right?" And then lesson number 1: the Force does not belong to the Jedi. To say that it does,
Great
is
line.
vanity.
Fuck.
so
So
I'm
good.
like, wow,
Great
that's
line.
cool.
And then
you're
when
like,
when she's feeling it and we're seeing all the different like
Imagery.
shots of imagery,
Yeah.
it's like this is one of those choices where people are like, "Oh, it did something different for Star Wars," and I think it worked.
Yeah.
like I think that
Yeah,
really all of this
definitely.
was like very powerful stuff.
I like that.
And even the conclusion of this, I think,
yeah.
is so good.
The way
where
it
it's
starts
like,
getting
yeah,
like scary, it's like
yeah, you. I mean, we realize what it is immediately. She has no idea. She just feels a pull to this thing.
Yeah.
And it's just like
I love his
what a
reaction
cool,
to
yeah.
it too, where he's like, "You didn't even try stopping yourself from going." Like,
Very-
"Ah,
But
it's so
again,
awesome."
it's like she is so pure in the sense that like, yeah, she has no idea what like that was. She just felt this force
so
that has
naive
been,
to it all.
Yeah.
And it's and I think that this is building to something that I hope that they continue to build in the next movie, where it's like the perception of it, the dark being evil, is wrong. That is the flaw in the Jedi Order. Yeah.
Rey, of course, goes into the dark hole and it squirts all over her.
Nope. No.
And then Luke is pissed and he says, "It offered you something you needed and you didn't even hesitate. You just saw it." He's like, "I've seen this type of raw strength once before and it didn't scare me enough then, but it does now." And you're like, fuck, what happened between you guys? Can you talk it out or no? Or beyond that? But it does. She goes to the hole, it squirts up a little bit. With the help of Carrie Fisher's daughter, Finn and Rose escape. Back on Act 2, Porgs have taken over everything, and Chewie tries to raise the resistance, but can't get a signal and can't reach the incredibly slow-moving ships. Rey slides into Kylo's FMs again. Force messaging. And he
You're
tells her,
so old.
I liked it, Nick.
I
Good
like it.
job.
I
Good
like it.
job.
and he tells her that she doesn't know the whole truth. She knows everything she needs to know about him. He's a monster. And then he's like, "Oh, I'm not a monster." And then Finn and Rose head to Canto Bites.
Real quick, the slight changes in the way they talk between each time they do this is so cool.
Sexy.
Yes, there is that sexy component to it. It's
dangerous.
But like it is one of those
We
things
shouldn't
that
be
like
doing this.
it's so cool to see it progress. And later when I can't remember what's going on, but like they're just having a conversation and it's like, "Oh, you guys are developing a bond of like friendship and understanding," where she's telling him like shit she's upset about and stuff, and he's like, "Oh yeah, you know that." It's so cool, and I love these moments.
Finn and Rose head to Canto Bites Me and park their ship on the beach. Rose hates this place because it's full of rich people who want to torture animals and dumb-looking children. And there's only one business in the galaxy that
are
can
they
make people.
dumb-looking?
There's only one business in the galaxy that can make people this rich. Tech. I'm sorry, it's war. I was like, I'm too busy living in Northern California. They find the master code breaker who was played by the guy from The Last of Us, or Leftovers.
Leftovers.
And
God,
then,
he's got
and you're
a
like,
body,
"Oh,
huh?"
that's interesting. It's Justin Thoreau. That's a cool, interesting pull for this person." But before they can reach him, they get got and thrown in jail, where there just so happens to be another master code breaker. What a great coincidence. And you know, ladies and gentlemen, if you're writing a tight, concise story, you should absolutely rely on coincidence for moving your characters from point A to point B and to giving them reasons and motivations to do anything. Because coincidence is the best tool a writer has at his or her disposal to telling a tight, concise, awesome story.
You know
Oh, wait, it's the opposite.
Yeah.
You should never fucking do this. This is a terrible, terrible, out of left field, stupid choice. How in the fucking, and this is what I'm talking about. You see a scene and you're like, if in this scene, I as an audience member get taken out of the narrative because I go, whoa, that's really weird. They just happen to find a guy that can get them out of this in the same prison as them. Why wasn't Justin Theroux's character thrown in prison? That's fine. Hey, we can't find this guy. Why not? He's in prison. We got to get ourselves thrown in prison so we can talk to this guy. That's a much smarter move. Instead, we have the characters just ping-ponging from location to location with no agency over their life at all because they just happen by these things. It's so stupid.
I also really don't like the forced commentary, although I enjoy what the commentary is. I enjoy what the messaging is of why she doesn't like this place, but when they first arrive there, she's like, "Oh, we have to go someplace that's the worst place."
He's like, "This place is beautiful.
This place sucks." Yeah, and then so they have that moment, and then there's the moment again on the balcony where they have to repeat the part.
Let me explain it
again.
because this theme is good. But
but then the way Finn goes about it again is like, "This place is beautiful. So why do you hate this place again?" For the audience, one more time, and it's just.
But also, she's like, all of these people are terrible because they're rich. And they all are part of the military industrial complex. Except for that guy, he just had a successful startup that helped lots of people. That person has started an organic panty company. That's all. Like, they can't all be fucking, you know what I mean?
Painting company.
They can't all be war people. It's stupid.
Take a closer look, and there's that one little future Jedi kid who like kind of gets brushed away by that one. It's just, I
get that there's like the kids are being they're slaves on this, but like you can tell me everyone that comes to Vegas, like it's like saying everyone that goes to Vegas is bad. I'm like, no, it's not true. It's just not true.
A lot of people are. Also, I'll say
a lot of people are, but some people just go on vacation. What people just go on vacation? They saved up, they went on vacation, they can't bite me.
This place looks. I do enjoy the design of everything kind of going on in the environments and everything, but I want to give a shout out to a few of the alien and costume design in this area, because there are two aliens that are just really fucking freaky. And there's one dude with like giant black eyes. And then there is another dude who has this really terrifying looking face with his hair just super parted in the middle, almost like a. It's
like a green
so
dog,
creepy.
like
He walks in front of the
really
camera, and I'm like,
creepy.
oh my god, it scared me. Like
He's like young Severus Snape. Almost.
yeah, it's
fucking
so
weird.
creepy looking. But they do a great job of designing aliens and stuff.
Back over on the island, Rey continues to train herself with a bow staff and then finally remembers you can't cut through shit with one of those things. So she takes out Luke's old lightsaber and starts hacking at a rock. Luke watches as she does what pretty much every kid does the first time they held a lightsaber and just starts swinging that fucker around haphazardly with zero utter disregard for anything around you. And then, of course, she cuts the rock in half by accident and it smashes down on one of the huts. And the weird fish nuns are like, what the fuck? Come on. We got to deal with these porgs. Now we got a big furry fucking dog eating the porgs and they're pissed off at each other.
Another moment where like I felt like the comedy was so like it didn't need
What
to
is
be
this
there.
movie?
Yeah, like
Why are
what
you
is your
doing that?
tone? Like how cool would it have been if she had like it fallen and it broken some statue and you see her like oh shit in her face and then we cut back and he's walking away because it's like fuck she's playing with toys.
Later that day, Luke gives her lesson number 2, the legacy of the Jedi.
I'm glad.
And he's like, 4 was awesome. Yeah. Later that day, lesson number 2, the legacy of the Jedi is failure. He tells her he began a training temple, but by the time he realized he was no match for the darkness rising and Kylo Ren, it was too late. When he came to, and we see the scene where he came to, everything was burning, and Kylo had vanished with a handful of his students that we had hoped to God to see in this movie, and it's going to be so weird to see them in the next movie, because why? Why would they not be using the Knights of Ren from the get-go? It doesn't matter. Let's see. Leia blames Snoke, but it was Luke who had failed Kylo because he was Luke Skywalker, Jedi Knight, Jedi Master, a legend. I was like, oh, fuck, that's true. Like, that is a hard thing to live up to, right? Especially when you fuck up. And she goes, you didn't fail Kylo. Kylo failed you. And she's like, I won't. And he's like, well, I'm not telling you the whole story.
Yeah.
Because I kind of did. Anyway, we'll get to that in a bit. Back at the fleet, ships are starting to lose power. The medical frigate loses power and gets got. Poe looks out the window and hopes Finn and Rose hurry up. And then I assume this has...
That is what Poe does.
You know what I mean?
This movie.
Our lead character of the movie just looks out a window and goes, hands are tied.
Come on, guys.
And like it's
Maybe
almost
I should
like
have gone with them. I could have flown the ship around while they
just
were
like-
in the thing.
maybe the pilot should have helped sneak them off the ship. Maybe the pilot should have done that. Not the engineer or the girl that checks the pipes.
But
You know what
also,
I mean?
again, they should have used the emergency escape pods and slowly be sending everyone away.
We'll move
you know?
on. Let's see. But they're in jail for apparently parking illegally.
Usually
Why they're
they
in
just
jail.
tow your car. For
Yeah,
that
they get a
stuff.
ticket for that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Joseph Gordon-Levitt told him not to do it.
Whatever. Luckily, there's another code breaker in there with them, and it's Benicio del Toro. And I mean, as much as I hate how they got here, I love Benicio del Toro.
too.
I think he's fucking awesome.
He's a great actor. I just feel like he went a little over the top on this character.
I don't
like
like
it. I think it's cool.
And he can get them anywhere. And then he takes out a fucking packet of Dentine ice and breaks them out of jail. And then luckily BB-8's there too because he got a bunch of coins stuffed in him earlier. And he ties up a bunch of people and starts shooting fucking coins all over the place. Like it's the first time he realizes
Dude,
he's got
this is
a
some
coin
And then-
dispenser.
clone shit, man.
It's so bad.
And then,
but also-
I really hate when Benicio del Toro walks up, sees all the soldiers on the ground, and goes, "You did this to BB-8."
Yeah.
It's just so cheesy.
that's what I'm talking about. The overacting that I don't dig. We also then, and I didn't realize that till watching it last night. Then BB-8 leaves with Benicio del Toro.
Yeah.
Why would he do that?
That's a very weird. So
Yeah.
so they look down and they escape through a sewer hatch that's just in the middle of a random hallway. Cool. And then the next scene we see Finn and Rose, and they pop up in the stables. How the fuck did the other
they
guy
get
get out of
separated.
there?
I don't understand how they get separated. It
Why would
seemed
they
like
have
they should have
gotten
gone with Benicio del Toro.
Again, dumb. No, we thought this through because you know why? Because what we wanted to do was just get them to the stables to see the animals that were being tortured. Because there's so much injustice everywhere I look. Injustice. You know what we should do? Let out all the fucking horse kangaroos. That'll show these rich people, and that'll turn a whole leaf and be the spark that ignites the. Shut the fuck up. They're gonna go. Who cares? I'm a billionaire. I don't give a fuck if you let a horse out.
But also, they're
You think
gonna
Donald fucking Trump cares if I go over and just fucking hack a horse's neck? He's gonna be like, cool, whatever, and probably jack off to it with his fucking Illuminati
God.
people.
the other thing is like
I
the-
really-
So heavy-handed with this
sorry,
shit.
these horses are gonna get caught afterwards.
Definitely.
Like why
or
wouldn't
killed. What if one of the horses is like, no, they've shown me the way. I will no longer. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
This is fucking completely asinine. This is so asinine. Jesus Christ. I mean, this is literally just like I don't want to go too far.
It's
It's so heavy-handed.
It's
this
so
along
heavy-handed.
with Leia floating are the two like most unforgivable things where, you know, they get off the horse and they're like, it felt good, you know, kind of run a hole.
At least
through this
it's worth
town.
it.
Or what did he say? But blow a hole through this. I don't know what the fuck.
We
he
really
said.
showed him.
Yeah.
She's like, we did. It was, and then she goes, it was all worth it for this. And they look down and they see the horse kangaroos just standing in the grass. And it's like, I'd be like, hey, run.
Yeah.
Get out of here. We just almost, okay.
But through all this, their friends are about to die in space.
Yeah.
But
And they're taking a moment to free horses.
It was worth it for letting them free and kind of like ruining and
But also
at that
you're on
moment-
a fucking covert mission. Why the fuck would you waste time stampeding horses through all these all these billionaires have security and shit? You could have gotten caught and then you're done.
Yeah.
Anyway,
But also one more thing. They thought they were gonna die at this, or at least get arrested
They were
again
at
at
the
this
edge of
moment.
yeah.
You know, and I felt like they were gonna die. And it's like, oh, this is like she goes, unbuckles, and said, no, now it's worth it. And it's like, you've just condemned all your friends.
yeah. Also, the
So
horses.
congratulations.
It was stupid. But before we get to that, of course, we would be remiss if we didn't talk about the stable kids who are about. They pop in. They go, oh, they're stable kids, and the kid's about to call a slave master, and she goes, don't. And then she shows her secret resistance Dakota ring, and the kid goes like this. What the fuck is that?
No, the kid knows. The kid's
Nah,
like,
they know.
oh,
Yeah, because a
shit.
stable kid who has probably zero access to the entire galaxy
But
around
here's-
him because he's a slave.
Also, she's so far away from him, and that thing is so tiny. He was probably like,
What is
I can't
that?
see what
But
you're showing.
also,
me."
there's
And also, like, if I
three
don't
other
call you, I'm gonna
kids
get
that- Why aren't
tortured.
they hitting the alert?
Yeah,
You know, they
I
weren't
don't know.
stopped. But
But he gets
to the
super-
point of like that moment, because like the showing the resistance ring, like while not executed well, I think that's really cool in the sense that like at the end of the movie we see these kids telling the story of Luke standing in front of them, you know, all the ships getting attacked and not being touched, and it's like this is like the spark of hope that they like that keeps everyone going. So that's cool.
They certainly attempted to set that
Yeah.
up. Let's put it that way. Except one of the kids, also these stable kids, very very well put together, clean kids. For a bunch of stuff. The one kid's like they put all they did the cardinal sin for me is they cast really pretty kids and then they just put like a little bit of a mark on his foot, just a little bit of it, and then at the end he goes yippee. It's like, oh no, not again. Don't say yippie.
Don't do it.
Don't fucking do it, bro.
There's something very close to Yippee though.
Then he goes,
Uh,
go,
Yeah.
There it is.
And it's like, I did him like this. Tim's like, don't do I gotta do it, Tim.
You cut to the Mandalorian of the
Nick, if you
disintegration.
do it, we lose the game. God damn, I gotta do it. Paint the walls. Hey, I hear you paint houses.
Can we
There
disagree?
you go.
Just like let's never show kids being excited in movies. It's just always bad.
Yeah.
Well, listen, you can show a kid being excited in a movie. It's called Home Alone. And you just keep watching that fucking movie. Okay? Cast adults to be actors from now on. Anyway, we talked about that. They free the fucking things. They're about to get caught. And then Benicio del Toro comes and saves them with BB-8. And it's like, okay, cool.
Is he flying?
Oh, God, it was worth it to tear up that town. Make them hurt.
That's the line. Oh, I hate that line. I don't really like. I'm not really angry about
Was
any
it
of this
worth
movie
it?
except for that.
Was it worth it? Was it
part.
worth the lives of 400 of your friends to stampede through a fucking casino that'll just get rebuilt by droids and slave kids? This is so fucking dumb.
Yeah,
it's so dumb.
Really, really bad.
All right, let's come back into the light. Benicio comes to pick them up in a stolen ship. Where has he been? Luke goes up to his meditation rock and gets back in touch with the Force so he can call Leia. Meanwhile, Rey slides back into Kylo's FMs, but this time Kylo's
I'm digging it
shirtless.
more and more every time.
She just caught him coming out of the shower, and he's like, "Oh, I wasn't expecting you." And she's like, "God, why is your chest
Dude,
so wide?"
this back and forth is like this
you
is
put
the
a
one.
shirt on?
Like I feel like the comedy in here is so good and like it keeps with the tone of the
Well,
movie.
that's
It's
the thing,
like
the comedy works
stop.
to
Yeah.
to back up the characters. Like that's when comedy should be implemented.
Should we get a little bit of the rank those abs?
Oh, sure.
Were they born in labs? Now it's time to rank those out.
Ow, say it's the 1940s, and Kylo Ren's pants are up to his nipples for no reason. We can't see his abs because they're covered by his pants. And why is
Didn't
he
expect this.
why is he sweaty?
he's working out. He was working out.
Was there like a Bowflex behind him that I didn't see it? He was just like, "Sorry, you just caught me. It would work out." You know what would have been funnier? It's just like, "Kylo, is that you?" He's like, 991, 992, 1,000. Oh, guys,
Oh, hey, Ray, what's up?
What's up? Anyway, they talk, and Kylo finally tells Rey what really happened. Luke tried to kill him, but all that doesn't matter. Kylo tells her to let the past die. Kill it if you have to. And the scene is fucking awesome. And then Rey decides to jump into the bad dark hole. Why does it have to be so hairy? Is the question that I put here. But I think we all know the answer because maybe a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away, it was 1974. But she gets
And
stuck.
holes were hairy.
But she gets sucked in like so many of us
She
have
falls
before.
in real hard.
And then down there, she sees a reflection of herself in the wall. When she touches it, she goes in, and the echo of herself stretches out through eternity, but not through eternity. It actually goes to a place where she thinks she's going to see her parents. And when she goes, it doesn't show her anything. All it shows her is herself.
I enjoyed this all a lot more the first time.
Really? Oh, I enjoyed it so much more this time.
She's never felt so alone. Luckily, she has Kylo.
Yeah.
And it isn't too late. She reaches out, a hand to him, and he takes his glove off and does the same, and they touch. And it's fucking cool. It's like weird and cool. And I'm like, I don't
So
understand this,
hot.
but I get it.
Love
it.
It's the
Yeah.
Force, and the Force is pushing them together. That's cool.
Yeah, but so sorry, just to stop on this moment, I felt like what they were saying, it further builds on of like the dark side doesn't necessarily have to be bad, but it won't have answers. But neither will the light, you know? Where it's like that's cool. That's cool.
Yeah. That's a cool
I just
thing.
didn't. I didn't like the effect of her and all this stuff. It's like what's happening?
It was like ASMR. I loved it.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like it's a cool thing, but it's just like why?
This is where I hope we get like because there's theories and stuff
They had
involved
$300
with
million.
this,
Tim.
right?
Gotta
Like
spend that
you've heard the theories that like
They had to spend that money.
Yeah.
$300
I guess
million.
you're right. I guess you're right.
there's a theory that I heard that where that I read where it basically was saying like this is the first hints that like that she is a clone, and like she's just one of many.
We'll fucking
Yeah.
see, man.
But that's the thing because it's not made by a single director. It doesn't seem like it's been planned out that well. It's just like I hope that we get more of that, and that wasn't just a glimpse at like pure dark side energy.
But like a jealous dad, Luke interrupts and they fight. He's like, "Who is this boy in this room? Get out of here! Get out!" Oh, no, not through the front door. You got to go the way you came, through the window. And the kid's like, "Okay." He's like, "Put your fucking shirt back
Did
on."
you say a jealous dad?
What?
Why is the dad jealous, Nick?
Anyway, they fight.
That is a good question.
He's afraid of losing his daughter. Okay, not like in a sexual
Yeah.
way.
Go with that. Go with
okay.
that.
Maybe-
overprotective. I think is what you were going for.
Yeah, that's it.
It's I
Synonym.
mean, to
Synonym.
be fair, like that
Like, can we
genre,
call him a stepdad at least to make it a
the
little
genre is
smoother?
all over Pornhub.
Yeah. Again, stepdad.
20 years.
They fight, and man, I love that he did this because Rey starts hacking at him, and he has zero fucking problem parrying these. This is obviously the biggest criticism of this movie is that Rey trains herself, right? And how could she have possibly picked up a lightsaber and beat Kylo? And it's like, then she goes against someone who actually knows what he's doing, and he has zero fucking problem, just like just swatting her away like it ain't shit until she takes the lightsaber out. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's like,
and then
fuck.
just to defend Force Awakens a little, because I didn't get a chance to talk about it, Kylo was shot in the like chest by like the heavy blaster, so like I feel like that made it a lot easier.
Making
for her
excuses
to,
for Kylo over here. Dude.
That's true. Of course. And then
Jedi,
there's a
right?
cool
Right,
little thing he does where she knocks him down, and he goes,
Right.
and he
And he
stops himself
catches
from
himself?
falling.
Ooh,
And it's like
so
so
cool.
subtle where he's still looking at her. And like I think doesn't want her to realize that he's still back in touch with the Force. I don't know. But then when she like lets off, he like lets go and falls. It's a fucking cool little touch.
he lets go and drops, and it's such a good like.
Yeah.
It's
Then-
so cool to see a master like in control of the Force, like doing these things.
He tells her he looked into Ben's heart and saw all the horrible things that he would do. Snoke had already turned him. In the moment of the weakness, Luke drew his lightsaber, but once that had passed, all he saw were the eyes of a frightened child and the consequences. He failed his student.
I love that we saw the shot 3
flashback,
times.
yeah.
Like the
I think
flashback
it's-
thing.
I mean, this moment for me was insanely powerful because you're like, oh, fuck, that makes a lot of sense. This is why he would go into seclusion. Like, I buy this now.
And we
And
got
like, I
the
think
lightsaber.
Adam Driver did a great job when he's looking at him. It is like, he looks like a scared child, and then he's like, Ben, he just fucking explodes the entire hut.
What I-
It's
Brings
so
it all
cool.
down.
What I liked most about like seeing the shot so many times was the change of perspective each time, and like at the end where we get like Luke's actual version of it, it's like to me this is what hurts me. That like one of the most like it hurts me the most is like I can't believe that after this Luke was like, I'm gonna cut myself
Yeah,
off.
I agree.
I'm gonna move away. This isn't the character that we've built over these years, and it's just.
I think that seeing this scene, again, if they had played it a little more subtly with the beginning stuff, seeing this and realizing that your nephew, like you were going to kill your nephew, your sister's, like your blood, that might actually be enough for me to be like, I need to go away forever. Like I don't trust myself anymore. Whatever I thought was my priority has whatever clarity I thought I had in the Force is clearly not there. I shouldn't be the one to teach people because I almost killed one of my students, which is like a cardinal sin. That'd be like a black belt in jiu-jitsu.
That's usually a bad thing.
That'd be like a black belt in jiu-jitsu, like breaking someone's arm just to prove a point. You're like, everyone would get together, like, you can't teach people anymore. Like, you can't be trusted. This is people's lives that you're dealing with. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
and
but
like,
like-
and
Yeah, but-
I thought he did such a good job of like that moment where he draws the lightsaber, you see the darkness in his eyes, and then he goes, oh. Fuck, what am I doing? Also, shout out to the fact that his hair was cut and he had the
Yeah.
short beard. I was like,
Well, we
you
see
look
that
like
look
Ben.
later,
It's-
and I
you
love
look like
it.
Kenobi.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
Right.
And also, shout out to fucking Mark Hamill's just overall hair. Like,
Great
he's got a
hair
great
still.
head of hair, dude.
Him and Harrison Ford really aged gracefully.
Man, beautiful.
Really great. Aged
Yeah,
gracefully.
good
Do
for
you
them.
think Leia aged gracefully?
Oh, she did too.
Yeah, I
guess.
thought she. Yeah.
No, we're talking about like
Yeah,
how
talking
Talking
about
about
men
guy
age
hairs,
their
dude.
hair.
As
Yeah.
a, Obi-Wan got a little bald. Whatever. We're not gonna say. Alec
yeah,
Guinness was a little thin up on top.
Yeah,
a little thin
that's
up on top.
I just like this to me is like the biggest problem that this movie has. Or I mean, Saga is going where like I don't buy it. This doesn't seem like what Luke would have done, but I guess it is what he did. So.
Rey wants him to come, all things being equal, she says, wants him to come make things right, but he says it's too late. She thinks they're still good in Kyle still. He hasn't made his choice yet, even though he's killed a lot of fucking people. And for some reason, for no reason whatsoever, just like his dad. And all of the villagers in the movie before this, but Luke still thinks this is all a bad idea. After all, we've been fighting the same war for like 60 fucking years, and something, or something, and they just keep making Death Stars. Nothing fucking changes. I think I wrote all that. I don't think that was actually in the movie. So Rey says, fuck it. Guess Kylo's our only hope, and she bounces. Which I was like, oh, that's tough. Luke tries to destroy the sacred text, but Yoda beats him to it. That library contains nothing the girl Rey doesn't already possess. And he's like, really? Then why did you have to train me? Well, I'm confused. Skywalker still looking to the horizon, never here, now, which is an awesome.
So
awesome
many lines
little
Yoda
throwback.
has are just perfect.
Really good.
I thought Yoda was a little too cartoony in this, realistically speaking, but whatever. And their back and forth was a little like, okay, we're dipping into CW territory here, but anyway.
There was one line that's like
He says, I was You want me to
Go for it.
tell him? He says, I was weak, unwise, and he says, lost Ben Solo, you did. Lose Rey, you must not. And because I can't be what she needs me to be. And he says, pass on what you have learned. Failure, most of all. The greatest teacher failure is. We are what they grow beyond. That's what he says.
We are what they grow.
That is the
Goosebumps,
true
dude.
burden. That is the true burden of all.
You're what they grew beyond, Creamy.
Yeah. Oh, piggy. Which I mean,
A little bit of a Chewbacca in there.
watching this a second time, I'm like, wow, that is a really deep and fucking cool thing of like we haven't seen before in Star Wars. Masters have always been like these like, I'm gonna guide you through, and even though I'm fucking with you a little bit, I know the path. And this is the first time we've learned that, like, no, you should actually tell your student that you failed, and she can learn from that, and because she can learn from that, she can be better than you, which is what we want, right? For people that we're teaching, we want that for our children, we want that for our students, we want them to grow beyond us.
I love
and then
all
go
this.
teach other people.
So well
I'm like,
done.
what a fucking cool thing. But also Yoda's like this. Also, she took all the books with her, so I'm really not burning anything down.
Yeah.
Yoda, always one step ahead. Master chess player, Tim. Master
It
chess
was,
player.
Jedi Master Chief.
I really liked also that like he was like, oh, I haven't seen you in a while, kind of thing, because it's like, oh, he's been cut off from the Force, so he doesn't have access to these past masters.
Do you think they all just hang out and have iced tea together?
I
Guys, I'm
really
having coffee,
would-
I'm making coffee.
Can you imagine how awesome it would be if she was trained by all these Force ghosts?
I do
But
love
whatever.
they weren't very easy reads, were they? Or what was the line?
Oh, he said page turners. They were
Page
not.
turners, they were not. I love that.
Yeah.
Benicio wants a deposit on the job and asks for Rose medallion, and she's like, "Fuck it." And Ben's like, "You can't ask for that. That was her sister's." And we assume because we saw one shot of it. And then Rose is like, "Fine, give it to him because I have zero conflict in this movie whatsoever. We're just gonna get this done." Then they have a really cool conversation about the military and industrial complex, and it's yet another really interesting concept that doesn't ever really come to fruition. Poe argues with Hodor again when he's learned she's abandoning ship, and no one bothers to tell him that she has a plan,
solid plan.
because blindly following orders is what the resistance is all about. Just want you to understand that. She was like, "You just need to follow my orders," and he's like, "That's what stormtroopers do. I'm not a stormtrooper. Tell me what the fuck's going on." So Rey and Chewie split up. Rey heads to Kylo, and Chewie goes back to the Resistance. Benicio cloaks their ship, which is a really, really, really cool, handy technology that they should really have set up beforehand. Because cloaking technology in Star Wars is a big deal. Everyone, just throwing that out there.
I really wish, like, I really enjoyed his little like explanation of stuff. It's so kooky, and he's like, "Oh, and then we'll slit the thing in the shield and slide in," and it's like, "Oh, you're so fucking kooky. I love it."
And they sneak in. Poe takes over the ship with a very willing team of mutineers, I might add, while Finn and Rose sneak aboard Snoke's ship. Kylo takes Ren to see Snoke as she lands. They have a cool scene. She feels the conflict in him, and I love this because she's like, I can feel like it's that scene where Vader's taking Luke to see Palpatine. He's like, I feel the conflict in you. He's like, there ain't no conflict, man. You're fucking going down.
This is how you do an elevator scene.
Yeah. He will not bow before Snoke. He'll turn. She saw it, and he saw something too. He saw who her parents were, and guess what? They were no one.
Fucking lie.
Dunkers. Oh, she'll know in turn, actually, I think. I guess he tells her later. Anyway, Benicio uses
Great dialogue.
that
Yeah.
Haitian smelt from Rose to break into the tracker room, and then he just gives it back to her. And you're like, oh, he's a good guy after all.
guy.
The characters in this really don't fit the modern archetype of bad guys or good guys, which is disappointing because usually you just kind of seed out a couple subconscious elements to the audience that this guy's going to double cross him, but this is a weird thing. Why would he give it back to her? I don't know. I guess he's good in this part, and then he eventually
doesn't-
decides to double cross him.
Yeah, he doesn't double cross them until they're caught, because he was like, "Oh, we're gonna be fucking dead. I'd rather be dead or be alive and have stuff and know that I fucked over the Resistance."
I think that whole turn, I don't love it, but I think it just speaks more to, hey man, this is war. You know, like there are no good or bad guys. We all look out for ourselves.
Very true.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, back over on the lead resistant ship, Holdo kicks over the dry ice machine, and everyone starts stunning fucking everyone. People get stun happy. And I'll tell you, Tim,
Yeah.
if Kevin and I had one of those stun guns,
Fuck.
we would shoot you with that thing every
so
fucking
often.
day.
Damn it.
It's how I would end my day.
Oh,
All right,
God.
guys, I'm gonna go out.
It's instead of like a nut shot,
Yeah.
it's just a stun shot. now.
Kevin's just like, okay, stun me now. Stun me
What?
now.
Why? No.
Why? What?
Oh, that's. Oh, I thought you meant end your day like so you can fall asleep.
No, I meant like as I'm leaving the office, I'd be like,
Oh, that'd be dangerous. You can't stun yourself before you drive.
not me,
Don't be
him,
silly.
him.
Don't be silly. The door to the bridge bursts open, and
Like
Leia.
him so much.
Okay. Meanwhile, Poe locks himself onto the bridge, and they start cutting through. And Poe hears over the loudspeaker that Phasma has captured Finn and Rose. So they go in and they do the thing, and as they come out, he can hear because he's in contact with Finn and Rose. And Phasma's like, "We've got you now." And you're like, "Oh, you're in this movie."
Oh, hey, you're here. I did like the scene. Like, it's comedy, but I think it worked. Of what looks like a giant ship.
Oh,
And it was
the iron?
Yeah, that was another moment where it was like, what a cool thing for them to do. I don't think it belongs in this
What
movie.
a cool thing for the Family Guy Star Wars show.
Yeah. Anyway,
it
so
felt like a show shot. Not for this movie.
he's hearing all this stuff go down. And he's like, "Fuck, Finn and Rose failed. I've locked myself onto the bridge. They're cutting through right now." And as the door opens, he gets ready for battle. And who does he see? Leia. She's up and running. She's got a little bandage on, and she's also got a stunner, and she stuns his ass. And she's like, what did I tell you about mutiny? What did I tell you about this?"
I tell you, Paul.
And then as they're loading Poe's unconscious body
Fucking hate this.
onto the transport, Leia and Laura Dern, Admiral Holdo look at each other and they go, "Man, this guy, he's really got it. We really like him." And Leia's like, "I really like him too." Wait, don't we really love him? It's like, do you hate him? Like, what the fuck
He
is
just
this moment?
mutinied.
Like,
I think the punishment
that one's really
for
hard to
mutiny
handle. I
is
know.
Death.
Yeah, like, this is just
But
dumb. Also, if Leia was going to come back, why do we have this other character in this? All right, so they put him on the thing.
Yeah, I really dislike that whole.
He's
like,
a troublemaker,
We like him.
but you gotta love him. I know,
Yeah, he's
right?
really
Like,
dumb.
I'm gonna
That's
fuck
why I
him
keep
later.
him around. Yeah, we're gonna ride his face later.
Jesus Christ.
Sugar happy
That was my fault.
Kevin queued up.
I took full
But it did
blame.
seem like that, right? Like,
Yeah,
it did
no,
seem
she was definitely
it seemed
like,
like when
wow.
two team owners, two female team owners
Character
from a baseball
development for
team, they're like,
Kevin.
"Hey, bring on that fucking Brahma Bull so Mama can have a go." Like, what the fuck is this scene? What is this scene?
Brahma Bull.
Also, I don't care how much I respect someone. If
they
you
call
just
The
tried to
Rock.
mutiny, yeah. If you just tried to mutiny, you're fucking dead. Anyway, totally dumb. Snoke Rey gets brought before Snoke, and Snoke tells Rey that he warned Kylo. That his powers rise going to be equal. Oh, okay. So this is a cool scene.
That was
where he's
another
like,
cool moment.
I warned him that as his power rose, so too would it equal an opposite power, and that is you. He thought it would be Luke, but he was wrong. Then guess what? Snoke was the one who made their cool FM connection. He was like, "I'm the one that programmed your little DMs that you guys were having." And he stoked all the flames of confusion in Kylo also, which led Rey right into them. Now he wants Skywalker, and he's prepared to torture for it. He like pulls her up and starts torturing her, and it's like fucking horrible. Poe wakes up on the transport ship, and Leia tells him all that of this whole time, Holdo had a plan all along, which was to use the smaller transport ships to sneak over to the planet Crate, which has an abandoned, heavily armored rebel base on it. Luckily,
And they're not tracking any of the small
Right.
ships because they're so small.
Look out the window.
Look out the window. There's fucking 15 of them.
Luckily, the First Order isn't monitoring the smaller ships, so they should be able to sneak by unseen. How the fuck are we, the audience, expected to make this leap in logic that anyone would know in the Rebel fleet that the First Order's not tracking transport ships, especially since the fucking first thing we see in a Star Wars movie is an escape pod. And two people go, "Hey, there's an escape pod going there. Should we blast it?" No, there's no life forms on it. We know everything about this escape pod. Everything about this escape pod.
It can detect life forms.
So how are we? We're really expected to believe
It's so
that her
stupid.
master plan was to take the transport ships off. When, by the way, we'd seen all the transport ships coming off the planet, and the First Order could see them then. Why can't they see them now?
But
They're
again,
super
like-
far away, dude. Like again, the lasers
But-
can't even penetrate the shield.
But-
Which, by the way, I love that effect when the lasers hit
Yeah,
the shield and you
shield.
see it go around.
Disperse.
It's such a cool little effect.
But we see their view. We see how far away the ships
Small
look.
ships.
Yeah, they're small, but like
Small
It
boy,
looks like
size of a
debris.
pumpkin.
Looks
you don't
like
think
debris.
someone's job is to just sit there and be like, "Hey, yep, they're still there. They haven't done some weird shit. They're still, you know."
Like, also, there's only one ship left. There's only one big ship left. So
No.
all of your attention should be on the main cruiser because there's nothing left. At this point, all the other ships are gone.
Yeah.
We've just got this one ship.
Oh, that medical frigate slowed down.
Medical frigate's gone.
Yeah.
So you figure there's one dude who's like this. This is my only job. Don't fuck this up.
No,
that's what
there
I'm
is
saying.
not
Watching the ship.
anybody with that one job because why the fuck is Finn a goddamn janitor? And also on that first raid of the planet where he gets the bloody helmet, like, you know what I mean? Everybody's multitasking, right?
So you think the guy that was in charge of watching the one Resistance ship that's left.
He was also a
in
janitor.
charge. Yeah, he's also goes. I got to go fix the coffee machine.
When you go to attack someplace, you get all your guys together, and you're like, "Hey, I get guns." Like like he's not just. What is the janitor? What is a fighter doing when they're not like fighting? You know what I mean? He's cleaning up the bomb.
Training,
Anyway, they're gonna go down there and they're gonna hold up
Obviously
until
not.
they
You
can
see
get a
them
message
shoot.
to their allies that are all scattered about the outer rim. Why the fuck did they not send that message hours ago? I don't know.
They needed a big antenna,
Sure.
right?
Let's go to Scarif.
I mean, you figure you could have had a couple allies come while you were in this 15-hour jaunt of just driving straight.
Jaunt.
You know what I mean? Like, oh, guys, you know what we should do? Maybe 10 hours
Like
ago?
a cross-country
Call in
drive.
a couple other ships to take out this fleet of Star Destroyers. And
They're
just
all
take
here.
them all out here.
They're all here.
Literally, the whole fleet's here. Anyway, Holdo apparently was more interested in protecting the light than seeming like a hero. What the fuck does that mean? What does it mean?
That it's simply not accurate. Like that doesn't work. You said it, so hoping that people are just gonna be like, "All right, cool." No, it's
No.
a hero move. She made the sacrifice. Play.
What would have been better is she goes, she didn't trust you because you were a fucking petulant child. So that's why she didn't tell you. And guess what? Her suspicions were correct because you mutinied. So like,
But he
maybe,
mutinied for a good reason.
Well, I know that, but like,
You know?
but I mean, this
Where it's like-
this idea that this character the entire time was acting like an evil piece of shit because she was being altruistic does not work. Those two don't. That didn't.
Doesn't
that's
match
not
up.
set up. It doesn't match up whatsoever. The character is so dumb and should never have been put in this movie. But guess what? We give her a good bon voyage in a couple seconds here
pretty
because
awesome.
as she's being boarded, Vice Admiral goes, "I can't board the ship. Somebody has to stay here and pilot the cruiser."
We know these ships have autopilot. We know, but, like, at least the X-Wing has autopilot. Remember when fucking R2-D2
like,
was
"No, I don't
like,
need
"Oh,
autopilot."
do you want autopilot to take over?" He's like, "No, I'm gonna drive manually."
Or
What the fuck?
go like this. "Hey, C-3PO, been a good run, baby. We need you to stay here." "Oh, sir, I don't think it's a good idea." "Well, guess what? You're a fucking droid. I'm going to MIG weld your foot to the ground, and you're going to steer this ship over to that other ship, or just off.
Light
Or by the way,
speed.
off in the other direction. Steer it over there." So
But
that
it's
they
not the hero play. It's
No, she's
My
not
chance
trying to
at
be the hero.
survival is 0.0. I know. That's
yeah,
why.
That's the point. We're fucking sick of your shit.
Rose and Finn get brought before Hux, and it turns out Benicio double-crossed them. He cut a deal, but with what? He told them about the fleet's plan, and wouldn't you know it, they ran a decloaking scan and discovered 30 troop transports headed for Crate. Okay,
So they were cloaked.
so they were cloaked.
Why didn't you say that?
They did.
Did they say that beforehand?
Yes.
Okay. So here's what I'm going to say again. Why are you not running this decloaking scan all the time if you know that ships can cloak?
It
Where
fucks
did
up
ships
the,
cloak?
It fucks up the internet, so they have to,
Ah,
yeah,
I see.
Yeah.
The
So I guess
speeds.
the ships
Yeah.
were cloaked. Okay. So the ships that were leaving the planet originally could cloak. They could have cloaked.
It's like when
The
we
entire
would
time.
stream and try to upload at the same time. It's a
Yeah.
lot.
And how come only the smaller ships can cloak? Can the bigger ships not cloak? What is the cloaking technology? In Star Trek, cloaking played a very, very interesting role every time it was introduced. It was a terrifying technology that only the enemies had. And it was really cool because the Alliance said,
Romulans,
this
I think.
shit should be outlawed because it's so powerful. Because if you can cloak and sneak up on other ships, you can
bad.
decimate people. Star Trek Discovery, cloaking played a big part in that. In this, it's
Deathly Hallows.
it's a throwaway line of, well, the ships were cloaked. Oh, okay. How do we explain other poor writing decisions here? Is there another trope that we can use or another device we can use to explain how fucking terrible the end of this movie is? I don't know. How about teleportation? I don't think we can go that far because that's Star Trek. How about time travel? We'll see. We'll see in the next
We'll
one.
see. Teleportation, no, but teleportation, force projection.
Yes.
Let's do it.
We can do that.
Why are these physical?
Until they're not.
We'll talk about
they
it later.
just-
We'll talk about it.
It's because they have the force.
All right. So the ships were cloaked.
They cloak themselves.
All
They
right,
wanted to get down
really
to the
quick,
planet.
really quick, with all your guys complaining, Arvel in the chat has a good quote from Empire Strikes Back, where the Millennium Falcon is being chased by these Star Destroyers, and then it suddenly just disappears. They're
Yeah.
like, it's gone, because they know it can't go into hyperspace.
Right.
And the literal quote is, "No ship that size has a cloaking device." So they have set up before of like it's probably
Okay.
only.
Are you
I
saying?
apologize
Are
to
you
everyone.
wait? Are you saying in that line they're saying small ships don't have cloaking devices?
Is that what
They
you're
say
saying?
no ship that size has a cloaking device.
So what size of ship?
Yeah, so I guess it's just the
How
middle
much
ones.
bigger is So the big ships can't have them. The small ones can't have them. But the ones that are just that big, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Nick,
But great save, dude.
breathe. It doesn't matter.
Forget
Let's
everything
see.
you know, man.
Well, I have 15 paragraphs about lamenting about cloaking technology. Let's move beyond it. Anyway, they start firing on the transport ships, and Holder tells them to keep going to the planet, which makes no sense either.
Well, I mean, they can't. At that point, they can't back up.
Sure. Can they go any other direction? Because you think going
doesn't
in a
matter.
beeline to a planet would then put you on that planet, and then you'd be stuck on that planet. There are like 7 ships. Go off in the other direction.
But
Do these ships not have hyperspace capability?
I'm just guessing
think
that they
so.
don't have hyperdrives.
Yeah, I don't.
So
think
they don't,
Yeah.
but the smaller ships do.
I don't
'Cause
know.
The
I
X-wings
don't
have
know.
hyperdrives.
These things aren't
We know the
explained.
X-wings have
But those are
hyperdrives.
You gotta
fighters,
choose.
you
You,
know?
gotta have either the hyperdrive or
Or
the
cloak.
cloak.
Guys, we can only have one. Which
It's
one do you
opposite
choose?
technologies.
Oh, I really want to use my perk points toward something.
Yeah.
I'll go
But they
cloak.
do
I'll go
have a
cloak.
decloaking device. I feel like that's an asterisk they should add in there. Like,
Also,
they can
I'm gonna be honest
uncloak
with you. If I were running the first order, I'd be like, always. What did I tell you, Tim? What did I tell you? Always run the decloaking scan.
Decloak.
Run it every 10 minutes. Is it system intensive? Fine. Run that scan every 10 minutes. We're in space. They can't get that far.
Run it every hour, you know?
Jesus Christ. Anyway, they start firing on the ships, and Holdo tells them to keep going to the planet. Rey gives up Luke's location. Then Snoke shows her the Resistance troops are being torn apart one by one. He's got a little cool looking glass, which is weird, and I like it. Rey grabs
it's a
Kylo's
very
lightsaber.
weird thing. Yeah,
I
but
felt
it's
like
cool.
it reminded me a lot of the other looking
Yeah.
glass they have later. Or in the
Return
Return.
of the Jedi.
Thank you.
Rey grabs Kylo's lightsaber, and she attempts to strike him down in anger. He's like, hey, you have the spirit of a true Jedi, so you have to die. And you're like, does she have the true Jedi? The Jedi gets angry? I can't remember. It's all so convoluted.
No, it seems
Snoke.
like a Sith
No, I
thing.
think that was
Yeah.
just him talking shit.
Yeah.
Maybe.
I do
Snoke-
like that he hits her in the back of the head
Yeah,
with the lightsaber.
as she tries to grab it, bang, it just pings-pongs it off, right?
No, you're so far behind.
Snoke senses that Kylo is no longer conflicted. He knows what he has to do. He ignites the lightsaber and kills his true enemy, Snoke. Just cuts him right through the gut. And it's kind of dumb, but I kind of love this.
Is it
So-
dumb? I think
No,
this is all
I-
fantastic.
No, I hate all the dialogue leading up to it. I think it's a little too choreographed and obvious where she points her lightsaber at her true enemy. Definitely not me, though. I'm not the one. He's pointing it at her. Not me.
I thought that was cool.
I like that he has the conflict in him has solidified. He no longer has conflict. He knows what he has to do, and because of that, Snoke gets a sense that it's like, oh, he's got a good true purpose in time, but Kylo's just tricking him somehow.
I like it.
No, I love
I think
all of
that
it. I
kinda
just
works.
like 3 less lines from
but it's-
Snoke would have been cool.
I guess, but it's just
I-
the fact that Snoke didn't know. I don't know.
it just bums me out.
I'll say
that
it
Snoke's
works.
gone.
Final decision.
Like
It works.
Good call.
I really like Snoke. Everything that we saw, like I wanted to see more, and it's just like, all right, cool. He's just another one of these characters.
He's another
that,
Phasma.
yeah, that doesn't have a back. He's another Boba Fett.
I don't
Guess
care
what?
about backside. I just like.
But I want to know.
I
more.
want him to.
Guess
I
what,
wish he was the
motherfuckers?
big evil
No
guy.
time to talk because shit is getting real. They all start fighting, and it kind of looks like the guys in the red don't know how to use their weapons at all. But it doesn't matter.
they're so
Then
good.
they
No,
fight
it's
I
some
don't
like-
more.
buy that at all, man. Like,
No.
there's-
The
good.
very first scene, the guys are like, "What? Oh, I don't know what's it." And then they start fighting, and then they start twirling around. It looks cool. It's just a couple shots where I'm like, those should not have made the edit. Doesn't matter.
Yeah.
I feel like this fight is awesome.
I think this scene's great.
Everything about it.
All
like
of this
the
is incredible.
Tone, it's so good.
I think
I love-
there's the breakdown video that everyone talks about.
Absolutely.
You
Who
can
cares?
do that video for any scene in any Star Wars movie, and it's going to be equally stupid.
I remember watching this scene in the theaters thinking this is fucking awesome, and then I saw that breakdown video and I was like, oh, that's interesting. Then I watched the scene again, and it's 6 months later. I'm like, oh
Fucking
guys,
awesome.
still fucking awesome.
Yeah, it's a
when,
good scene.
when I forget what gets cut off, I think one of the blades gets cut off and hits the. It's very subtle. It just hits the
Yeah.
thing, and then through the rest of the scene, the entire environment gets burns apart, and then you see the battle waging outside.
It's very cool.
It's so
Yeah.
fucking rad. I'm like, oh, that's like a really good touch. This is a really
And-
well done scene.
We get a cool ass lightsaber scene.
Really?
When
We
that
finally got
happened,
it.
I was like, oh, hey, he
Although
did
I
it.
want to point out, first time, and until fucking Arvel Krynite or whoever in the chat wants to correct me, that an armor that someone wore actually did something.
Yeah. They did it.
You get one clap for that. At one point, like he hits him with lightsaber,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
it comes off. I was like, oh, that's very
job, guys.
useful armor.
Yeah.
I thought that was a cool touch. I'm like, oh, you actually have to beat these people smartly, and they do, and they work together.
I love the chain scene.
It
when
would
he's
have been funny,
dragging
though.
the
Yeah.
train.
Well, because
forward.
at first I was
Really
like, wait,
cool.
how is that not burning? And then they show a lightsaber striking it, and you're like, oh, they have better armor,
Yeah.
I guess, than stormtroopers because this shit can't cut
But
through. And that's
then-
why they had to like run them through at the soft parts, just like the Dark Knight, where he's like,
he was gonna
Morgan
run me
Freeman.
through my soft
Morgan
parts.
Freeman has that one
Yeah.
one line where he's like.
Not
A
as good as
slash
that.
is fine, but a direct thing. I'm like, Morgan, can you define that for me? Because that was very convenient. There it is.
Bullets, fine. It'll
Bullets
defend.
fine, but a knife?
Yeah, because it's in between the seams.
What if the bullet hits in between the seams, Morgan Freeman? Oh, we
It's
haven't thought
bulletproof.
about
No,
that.
It's not
bulletproof.
sharp.
But how's a bullet stop?
It's about direct impact. You know, they've got this stuff. It's
Kevlar.
Oolog. No. Oolog material. I think it's what it's called.
So
it's
ceramic
a
shit?
non. No, it's a non-Newtonian.
Spider
Simon
silk?
Pegg's character
Part,
from the last
so
movie.
it when you put force on it, it actually compacts.
Oh,
It's
I
the
know.
opposite of
I know
that.
something else that does
Yeah.
that.
What?
I don't know. I don't know. Stop. We don't want to know.
we don't need to know.
want to know.
Anyways, they take out everyone. Cool scenes. We got the thing where he gets in the fucking face, the one where she drops it and does the fucking Winter
yeah.
Soldier.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And that's all cool. And then they kill everyone, and she looks out and she goes, "Cool, we're all good. Thanks for helping me.
Let's stop
Call
the
off
fleet."
the attack." And he's like, "No, it's time to let old things die. We can rule together, bring a new order to the galaxy." And she goes, "Wow, that's a really cool and unique concept, but I think I'll pass." And then they both reach for the lightsaber together, and they
Dude.
get somehow pushed apart, even though they're trying to pull toward each other,
knows?
which is not how the physics work. But
Doesn't
it's a cool
matter.
visual.
Nah, it's Dragon
It's
Ball
a
Z,
cool
man.
visual.
If we're both pulling a rope,
They're both shooting.
if we're
Yeah,
both
that's
pulling a rope, we're
different,
gonna
yeah.
get close to each other.
So
Opposites attract.
Shit.
this is the moment where it's like, man, it
Oh,
would
and
have
this
been.
is also where he tells her parents that her parents were
In
no way.
space, no one
Don't
can hear
cares.
you breathe.
I wish that like, if she had been like, you know, you're right, and gone up to him and been like, let's make something new. Like, I feel like that would have been taking Star Wars into a radically different way.
I don't think they-
And,
I don't
like,
think that
that
would've-
would have had the praise that like that this movie got for being so different.
The unfortunate part is that you can't do that with this character because Kylo's been so bad that there's no redemption for him. He has to die.
I think that there's gonna be a redemption.
he
for
has
him.
to die, or else the audience would be like, "Well, what's the lesson we're learning here?"
There's too many
that you
little-
can be a complete and total maniacal fucking monster, but at the very end do one good deed and you're okay. Unless he winds up
You're
in jail.
talking about Darth Vader,
Yeah, but he dies. Darth Vader dies. So there's that
a
one
good man, and
there's the
lives on
one-
as a Force ghost.
There's the one act of redemption, and Luke goes, "I knew it. You had, and you did one good thing, and that was good, but it didn't." That's why they had to kill him. If he had gone on and lived, people would have been like, "Dude, we got to put this guy in jail. Otherwise, that makes no sense." So Kylo, the way they've set him up these last two movies, it's unfortunate they couldn't do that. He needed to be a much more sympathetic character to actually have them come together as a
But
team.
is that just because he killed his dad? And I know that that's a big deal. But like, is that?
Don't kill your dad. We don't condone it.
But
Okay?
like, that's it. Like, like
the dad, the villagers, the people he's tortured, all of the resistance people. I mean, he's killed thousands of people at this point,
yeah,
personally.
but like so many of these other people have too. Like, think about all the
Yeah, but we haven't seen.
stormtroopers.
But when you have a bad guy that murder is
Yeah.
the cardinal sin in writing. Okay, if you murder someone in cold blood, you are an irredeemable character. Unless you're Game of Thrones and you have 3 or 4 seasons to turn the audience back to Jaime Lannister. You know what I mean? Like he's
God,
a perfect
and
example of
then
how you do
back
that.
in 2
but even
episodes.
then, there are still characters that in the world that want him fucking dead.
Yeah.
Right. Even then, you're Jaime Lannister. You're in front of this council. I want you fucking dead. You know, I'm in Winterfell. I'm a fucking who the fuck are they? Jon
Starks.
Snow's people. The Stark. I'm a Stark. You're fucking dead. You see what I'm saying? Like, no matter how good of a writer you are, the second a character creates this much atrocity in the world,
Yeah.
they gotta go. They're irredeemable.
I-
This
yeah,
was never gonna happen to begin with.
It never
gonna
was. I think because at the end of the day, it is still part of the Skywalker saga, and it is still a Disney Star Wars. Not to say that like I don't even think if Disney owned them, I think we'd still have this where there's a lot of little girls out there dressing like Rey, and she is
Sure, yeah,
There's
she can't
finally a
turn evil.
female like
And
awesome
again,
figure
going
in
back,
Star Wars.
going back to my original
Jedi.
my criticism about 5.5 hours ago, this movie is exactly the same movie as all the ones that came
Yeah.
before it. We veered off down a side road, took a detour, and then came right back onto
We
the
went to
same
the casino
highway.
first.
and
then we
so
came
much
back.
of that
Came
is
back.
bad, unfortunately.
Yeah,
So,
I
but
think
my
so.
thing though is I get what you're saying, Nick, about he's irredeemable. That's what the next movie's for, though, is dealing with the ramifications of that.
We'll
How
see.
awesome would it be if they did team up, and then it's like the next movie's dealing with that and her realizing he's irredeemable.
I mean, it's I mean, that could have been
or
cool.
him
That could have been very
sacrificing
cool.
himself
Cool.
Could have been
as
cool.
his redemption in some bigger way to stop.
He has to
the
decide,
big
like,
threat.
if you want redemption for Kylo, he has to absolve himself of the sin of killing his dad by sacrificing himself. That's what he has to do. Otherwise, audiences are gonna go,
Yeah,
It's like
Arnold in
remember
Terminator
when
Dark Fate.
a perfect example is when Statham gets invited to the barbecue. You're like,
100%.
but you
Yeah.
still killed Han.
That is a
Do you see what I'm
fucking
saying?
Why'd you
perfect-
call him, huh?
Perfect way to put it.
You still killed Han. Do you
Yeah.
see what I'm saying? Like, no matter what happens, you killed my fucking friend.
They both killed
if someone
Han.
If Andy killed you,
Shit.
yeah, oh, that's true.
Oh wow!
All right, let's keep going because we're getting along with you here. Let's see. Holdo watches
She's
as
still here. Fuck.
all of the transports get wiped out one by one, and then goes, "Oh, I have a good idea. Why did you stay on the ship if you weren't going to sacrifice yourself?" She finally, you know what I should do? I should sacrifice myself. What the fuck are you doing on this ship to begin with? Anyway, decides to point her ship
All of this is awesome.
at Snoke,
All of it.
Well,
and
awesome,
then
but like also
Awesome.
The
Look-
ramifications of it are upsetting to me personally.
if okay,
Ramifications of what?
so let's talk
Like
about the
what- like
let's
why-
talk
yeah.
about the positives first. She points the ship at there, and as they're watching from the transport ship, all hope is lost. This thing's picking us off one by one. She makes the choice to sacrifice herself, pushes the button to hyperspeed, and then cuts through the Snoke's big ass ship
And every other ship.
and all the ships, the concussion of which just blow apart, and like a warm knife through butter, just cuts right through. And the sound design in this
It's so fucking cool.
because it's silent, and it's a great choice.
But
the
I also
visual
love that,
is
like the visual is
stunning.
so good.
The lead
So
up to
good.
it, I really enjoy
she's
Hux
running
and everybody
away.
on the ship going
Oh,
like
freaking out.
fucking turn around, like we gotta get it. Like I love their panic, like their acting is so great.
And it's
Yeah.
screaming in silence where you see Poe like,
Oh, I love that. Yeah. Screaming in silence in movies, good stuff.
It is.
Like
So-
floating people in video games, great stuff.
So
Yeah.
the reason why, and we'll get into this right now, we got to get into it. The reason why this breaks stuff is because, to me, if I were in this, I'd have been like, wait, we can do that? Why didn't we take the medical frigate 5 hours ago and do that?
Would have been smart.
Instead
Or-
of just letting the ship get destroyed, if we can do this, if this is a technology at our disposal, maybe take all the cloak device off the smaller ones. I don't know. We'll do something with the cloak device because they're here too. Point one of the ships that's about to die, use the last little bit of fuel, and point it at the fucking dreadnought and kill it with that. This doesn't make any sense. Andy from the press pool.
all of these people are not Holdo. Like Holdo, they've already they gave us a line that she was kind of a cool person in one of the fucking War of 1812.
So she's the only person that understands that a ship can collide with another ship via
She's just
hyperspace.
smarter. I mean, that's how she got to her position. She's a general. She's got a
cool, I
better
buy
thing
that,
in mind.
but then she just came up with the idea at the last second. Like
That was her plan the whole
in
time.
a
Was it the
hope
plan
of
the whole time?
But she could've-
desperation.
Huh?
I think in a moment of desperation, you know.
But
Yeah.
then what was her plan being alone on the ship?
Yeah,
Well,
why
her
did she
plan
not
was to
ship?
drift off till it ran out of fuel and then get shot down by the thing.
Her be the
Okay.
target.
Yeah.
Why
Captain
did
goes
she
to-
need to be on the ship for that?
No idea. No fucking clue.
Like that's
This-
where
it's
it
space.
falls apart.
Yeah.
It's weird.
She needed to be on the ship for that so that she could turn the ship around and hyperdrive into them.
That's bad writing.
Absolutely.
Also, you know what I really,
But-
really hated in this whole thing? Like, I love all of this, right? I love the whole action and the visuals. Everything is like so well made. But when it does happen and everybody's looking back at this awesome fucking thing that everybody just witnessed, there's like a guy in the background behind. There's a guy in the background behind Leia and Poe. After they're looking at this incredible visual, this fucking thing that light speeded through a giant ship, and there's a guy like shaking another dude's hand. I was like, look outside the window.
Like, apparently no one's ever done this before. You might want to
There's a
look
guy
at it.
just like, yeah,
This is like
we
a
did it.
volcano going off for the first time. Like, whoa, what the fuck was that?
I have heard people say that like, oh, well, it was the only ship big enough to do that. So
Cool.
it could have only been that ship. It's like, cool, then evacuate everyone from that ship, put them on the small transports and do that to begin with. Because that destroyed so many of their ships,
I mean, that really crippled them.
crippled them.
And if you had five
Snoke's
other
on
ships,
there.
you could have just turned around and been like, okay, now we're going
Right?
to take them
Yeah,
out.
exactly. Or
It's-
then jump into hyperdrive because they don't know this, but only the lead ship is monitoring they're tracking them.
Oh, yeah, we
which
talked
is
about
like
that, which is like dumb.
Such a dumb
That's
thing.
another dumb-
Why wouldn't
stupid
every
thing to
ship
write
be
in.
tracking them?
Oh, I need to rescind my prior comment. Hux doesn't turn around. He turns around and says, "Everybody fire on that ship."
Yeah,
I got the line
yeah,
wrong.
yeah,
Sorry.
no, you got it.
So there's a lot of just interesting lead questions that come up from her doing
Oh,
that.
wait.
but the visual was cool.
Sorry.
So
Very
and
cool.
all that
Sorry.
all that matters is visual. So let's just go.
There is one more thing that I want to say. In The Force Awakens, we find out that they can hyperdrive through force fields. That doesn't matter. They
That
can
was a dumb
pop-
choice also.
They can pop in it. Okay, it was a dumb choice, and now we know that you can use a ship as a weapon to crash into stuff. So I feel like now there's no threats because they could always just hyperdrive into a ship and use it to collide in the center of it, and boom, done. They've now. Like
the secret weapon.
Yeah, exactly. And it's just like that's what I feel breaks this, like what's so universe breaking about this, where it's like these are a small
That
band
should
of
be the main
rebels.
weapon now.
Yeah, it's like it
Also,
works.
let's put it this way: if like something traveling at light speed, it doesn't have to be big to make an impact that's cataclysmic for a planet. Let's put it that way. Like how big was the asteroid that I guess it was Texas that destroyed the dinosaurs? How big was that fucking thing?
Oh, fuck.
I believe it was Texas.
I guess that's pretty big. I guess that's pretty big.
I love you so much, Nick, asking the question. How big was the thing that took out the dinosaurs?
What I'm saying is,
as
like,
if anyone would know. How long is the Golden Gate Bridge?
well, no, a lot of people know how big it was because it was they liken it to being the size of Texas.
I think that's right.
So like that took out a planet, right? And this thing's not the size of a fucking planet.
That's like a line
so
from Armageddon,
basically,
right?
Yeah.
to put it in scale, what I'm trying to say is like something traveling at light speed, the size of a car, could probably take out that ship very, very easily because light speed's very, very fast.
Isn't Texas the movie Armageddon? It may be.
Fuck yeah.
Doesn't matter.
Are we talking about Armageddon in review now? Let's go. They only made one. Thank
No,
God.
thank you.
Anyway, let's see. They're fighting over Luke Skywalker's lightsaber, but it breaks in two and explodes, knocking them both apart. Again, symbolism here. What are we supposed to be thinking here? Because are we breaking the lightsaber, the symbol of the Jedi? We're breaking it in two. So this is like a break from the history of this, but we're
No.
not because she's chosen the light side. I don't know.
This is more of like us, like we're supposed to be like this is the end of Anakin, and I think that's not Anakin, Luke, and I think that's more what the message is.
Yeah, but
And
symbolically, like when you
it-
break something that's like the symbol of good, you're breaking. That's a departure from something.
But
and this is like, well.
Also, I think it's also set up for what happens later when we have Ghost Luke there with that same lightsaber.
Why do we have Ghost Luke?
What? Or not Ghost Luke, but like
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Yeah,
Okay.
projection.
Anyway,
Sorry.
despite having
There's so many different terms.
Let's see. We're at 2 hours and 20 minutes here. How
Yeah,
are we doing?
yeah, that's
Oh,
really
okay, I
bad.
gotta pee
That's
back.
not where we're
Anyway,
long.
despite having a ship cut through, they're on. Rose, Finn, and Phasma survive. So everything's fine. Apparently, this dude that
Everyone
didn't
else
understand.
is fucking
Everyone
dead.
else is dead except Rose,
Do you
Finn, and
think
Phasma, and like 5
Benicio del
stormtroopers.
Toro made it out?
No, probably.
I really hope he did.
Luckily, BB-8 knows how to pilot an AT-ST and
Fucked them
makes
all over.
short
Yeah,
work
but I
of
like 'em.
the remaining stormtroopers, but Finn has to have it out with Phasma one last time because everything's been building up to this moment, just like when Luke watched Vader kill his mentor, and then after training real hard, lost to Vader in the duel, and then after finally completing his training, he overcame Vader physically, but realized that the true battle lies within himself, so he chooses death over giving up to the dark side, thus completing his incredibly well-paced and validating character arc. But no, he just fights Phasma again and beats her fucking ass.
Your
for
expectations
no reason.
have been subverted.
Some
ladies and
fucking
gentlemen.
burden.
and then she falls into a pit of fire.
Fire. So just so everyone knows, like, yeah, she's not coming back, or
Yeah.
is she? Who knows?
I don't-
They
who
can do
knows?
whatever the fuck
Yeah.
they want.
Because she was on Star Killer Base and somehow
Hey,
fucking
there's
got out
a
when it
tie-in
blew up.
comic that gives you the answers to that.
I'm sure there's an episode of the Clone War that no one watched that
What an
explains
absolute
how
waste
all of
of
this
Gwendolyn
works.
Christie. dude.
Exactly.
Like, gosh.
Luckily, she was like, thank God they stuck the landing with Game of Thrones and no one's pissed at me for that. He beats her with all of these. Anyway, Kylo force chokes Hux into submission and the First Order starts attacking the base. I do like that scene where he's like, who's the Supreme? He's like, I am, bitch. He's like, oh, okay, fuck, I'm okay.
Yeah.
Just in case you thought there was going to be any question about this, I can force choke you. And he's like, all right, you're fine.
I didn't really super understand those lines of dialogue. Snoke is dead. Long live Snoke. Like,
No.
Supreme
Long
Leader.
live the.
They called him the Supreme Leader.
Leader.
Oh,
So
okay.
he was then calling what's his face?
Kylo.
Yeah.
oh, okay.
All right, the first, so they go into this base and they shut themselves in, and the First Order lands a battering ram, and they decide all this is weird too, because it's like you have Star Destroyers.
What's even
Point the
weird,
Star Destroyers at the base and start shooting at the. We already saw you do that once. Like, why would you need to land a ground force to destroy one base?
for just
There's no
add-
shield around this
yeah.
planet. And in Hoth, they had a shield generator on the base. We didn't see that here.
They-
Just start firing at it.
They had to do
And
that.
why did you
so
land
that-
400 miles away from this thing?
What,
You
what
can't get a little closer?
what I think is weird, well, I like the shot, is Leia standing there with the jacket over, which is such a cool looking shot, and her being like, oh, they're coming, close the gates. Why wouldn't you have the gates closed? It worked out that was Poe and Rose, or not Poe, Finn and Rose that were coming through, but like they thought that was an enemy approaching.
that's weird.
Why did they have the doors open?
So they land, and thank God, and guess what? He's like, we do get a great moment where he's like, Finn, Rose, where's my droid? And BB-8 rolls out, and then he just rubs that fucking droid.
Yeah, he rubs the
And
droid.
it's like,
Yeah.
if I were, I'll
What's
put it
it
this
like,
way,
Nick?
What's it like?
Oscar, great take. Let's try. We got it.
Lick
we got
your
2
lips.
really good takes. Let's try one where you don't sexually assault the droid. Can we try that? Can we try one where you don't get the
He's just
droid
like,
erect?
I'm sorry.
No.
Sorry, man. I only have 1 speed. Hot.
Yeah.
Okay.
I
All
do.
right.
I do
You
want to
you,
say though
man.
that like why the ship probably didn't fire on the base is because it's not a great decision, but they do set up the word of like it's heavily armored, and they keep throwing out that word
Yeah,
to show
but you
that
know
like
what has the biggest guns of all? The giant city-sized spaceship.
Yeah.
no. Well,
I guess they
Death
did.
Star
I guess they
tech.
did set up
the
that the
Death Star
dreadnought.
tech is on the bottom.
Oh, is that what did they say that was Death
cannon.
Star
Yeah,
tech?
they said Death
Okay,
Star
I missed
tech,
that
yeah.
one. Great. Can you
they
not
did- they
shoot
did-
that from space?
They did set up that the
Because the
dreadnought.
Death Star
not
shot that
attached.
from space.
So they did set up that the dreadnought was the one that shoots the base. That's when they called it in, and the dreadnought got destroyed. So technically, maybe
Okay.
they didn't have a cannon big enough to penetrate the armor. All by that. Anyway, they're down
But
there.
shoot all the ships.
Also,
And just wait.
if you're at a like Tim, let me paint a little picture for you.
Please.
Right? You come into work one day, right? It's early in the morning. You look over, and there's these cute little terrifying white snow monsters that are staring at you. Do you
Crystal
let them in your
foxes?
base? I'm like, get these fucking things out of here! They're gonna kill
Those
us.
crystal foxes?
They're cute.
They are cute.
They're
but,
terrifying.
Like, but they're also terrifying. But I'm scared of small dogs.
You think they have like ice rabies,
Yes.
Oh, for sure they got ice
Well,
rabies.
I think it's salt
Ice
rabies.
rabies.
crystal rabies?
Because
Yeah,
they're not.
that's
It's
right,
not
yeah.
ice.
It's not
It's
ice.
Salt rabies.
It's not ice.
Remember, he goes
Mineral
salt.
planet.
You know, he just blows through. I'm like,
fuck.
space
No,
coke.
it's cocaine.
Get it. All right, so
Was that Ryan Johnson that said that?
They shut the thing. No,
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
No, it was
Garrett Edwards.
Garrett,
Yeah.
that's what I meant. That's what
As
I
they
meant.
lined up. So the first orders come with the battering ram. They decided to shut the things. They send a message to the allies out there, and they got to buy some time so that the allies, if anyone answers, can get there. So they come up with the idea: we're going to take these old mining speeders and a single line of troops who are assuming to be pretty easy to target, and we're going to go fight this thing. Then, thankfully, the Millennium Falcon is there. 1 ship versus 40 seems fine. They hate that ship, man. They hate that ship. Send all the fighters after the Millennium Falcon to destroy that ship.
Doctors hate this ship.
The
Also,
cannon,
Ray's on there. How did Ray get on there?
I have no idea.
Where did they rendezvous to get Ray
She
on that
took
ship?
Snoke's
Doesn't
private
matter.
ship over
Doesn't
to the
matter.
Millennium Falcon. And maybe taking 2 ships would have been good because 2 ships in a battle is better than 1, but it doesn't matter.
Well, you need a gunner, so
It's true.
would have been cool to see C-3PO on there.
Or maybe a
Oh,
C3.
wouldn't.
Again, another thing.
No, it
how
wouldn't.
awesome would
Wouldn't.
how
Fucking
crazy would
around.
have been if C3PO had to pilot that ship into the other ship, and that was his like bon voyage. That would have been amazing. But we're gonna see him like be a symbiont with the other ship. It didn't matter. The cannon charges, and Poe, I guess, having learned his lesson, calls his fleet off. And he's like, so they're going toward this thing, and he's like, that thing, it's charging. You know what? I've grown as a character. This is my character growth. We're gonna call the fleet off, and then Finn's like, no, dude, we gotta like this is it. If someone doesn't sacrifice themselves for this, then we'll all die. And so I'm going to keep going toward this. And I'm like, whoa.
Did those ships have weapons on them?
No.
Right?
I don't know what their
What was
plan
their
was
plan?
here. So you're going to take some old broke-ass mining ships
Fuck, it
against
looked cool, though.
AT-ATs? Like,
It looked fucking
It
cool.
looks
yeah,
so
especially
cool.
when they have to steady themselves and they make the tracks. It's like, that's kind of cool. Anyway, so he takes
That's
it and he's
really
like,
cool.
he's like, I have
Drop your
sacrificed
skimmer
myself
or whatever it was.
for my friends. This is a very powerful moment. I am so far ahead of everyone else that surely, with the physics of this situation, dictate that no one could possibly outrun me. And then Rose comes out of fucking nowhere ahead of him and smashes into him, killing them both.
Yeah, they
The
both
end.
died in this
The
wreck.
end.
Yeah,
Good riddance.
metal was impaled into their bodies. Yeah,
And then he runs over to her and he goes, why did you do that? And she goes, because we're not going to win this war by killing the things we hate. We're going to win it by saving the things we love. And he looks her dumbass in the eyes and goes, that's what I was just going to fucking do, you moron. And as he says that, as he says that, the giant cannon that he was moments away from taking out blows a fucking hole in the door and kills all of his friends. At which point I would have been like this. Come here, I'm going to show you this thing called the rear naked choke. Go to sleep, you dumbass.
And then-
Go to sleep, you fucking dumbass. Go to sleep, go to sleep. Shh, shh, shh.
And then they kiss.
Yeah, they do.
No,
And
she
she-
kisses him and he goes, yo, you can't do that. And it's 2020. It's 2019.
Yeah, like,
You can't
ask
do that shit
permission.
right now.
Ask
You did
permission.
not get my consent for that.
And then she fake dies.
And then he drags her
Hey,
like
she lost
7
the will to
miles.
live, dude.
He drags her ass like so far back. I'm
So
like,
far
how
back.
slow are these
Leave her.
ATST walkers that he can outrun them with another body?
Oh no, the ATST walkers stop.
AT-ATs.
AT-AT, excuse me.
AT
People are gonna-
What
What
they're
about the big one? What about the big ones with the knuckles?
Aren't they ACTs now?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because they have like holes in them or
Yeah,
something, right?
so because they're combat.
They're AT-ATs. I don't
Yeah.
care.
The tall ones, though. The tall
okay.
ones are
Ad
bigger,
axe.
and they have
Yeah,
they have the fists.
Those are the. I believe those are the
Big ol'
axe
fists.
now.
Anyway,
See for
that
combat.
all of these people did absolutely nothing. That solved nothing. And Kylo tells Hux to advance. No quarter,
Oh no, ACACTs.
no
are
signals.
Rogue One.
Inside the base, the distress signal was received, but guess what? There's no response. The galaxy has lost all hope. The spark is out. Remember when Hodor said that? Guess what? The spark's gone. Then, motherfucker,
Mother goddamn
like a
fucker.
goddamn Zippo lighter, Luke Skywalker shows up. And I hate a lot of parts. I hate most of this movie. I love some of this movie.
There's
I don't
about
like. I want to
a
say
minute and a half right here. There's music cues that start, and the music just starts
Some of the
ramping
best
up.
stuff.
They have their dialogue, and as he fucking walks out with the shot, and you
gives
see
her
him
the
against
dice.
it, all of that is fucking perfect.
It's so good.
And again, here's where the comedy just works so well to like relieve the tension a little bit. It's like, oh, I know what you're thinking. My hair's different. It's like, ah,
It was good.
look at them. Look at them. Look at this.
Yeah.
I
and
gotta
then
go kill your son.
Yeah, he goes. He came to face Kylo, but he can't save him. And Leia knows her son is gone. And then he goes, "No one's ever really gone."
Oh,
Which I was
God.
like, fuck.
little hint of the future trailer.
Yeah,
Yeah.
which I didn't catch before. I caught it in the trailer. I was like, "Oh, that's a really cool line that they must have had him record for this." I didn't realize it was echoed from Last Jedi. What's
I
a
also
powerful
love
line.
that it works so well as a Carrie Fisher tribute.
Yeah.
Of him saying
No one's
that.
ever
Yeah.
really heard
So good.
Then he gives her the dice, and she clutches them in his hand, and
And it's like, these are definitely real.
yeah, and she's like, "Wow,
My nipples
sounds
are
nice."
hard right now.
And then
She didn't say that. Right?
he walks out
No.
to literally face down the entire First Order with his laser sword,
God
which I fucking love.
freaking
Because he has that line earlier, where he's like, "What do you want to do? Face down, walk out and face down the entire First Order with my laser sword?" And that's exactly what this motherfucker's gonna do right now. And then you're like, "Did he cut his hair? Is one of those fish nuns a
He
barber
looks
also?"
good. He looks good.
He looks real good.
Looks a little
Sponsored
younger.
by Just for Men.
Well, one of the details is that he purposely makes himself look like the last
Yep.
time he saw Kylo
Yep.
to
Love
get
it.
more of a rise out of Kylo.
And Kylo sees it and says, "Everyone fire on that man." And they start firing, and it's one of those scenes where he's like, "Nah, just keep going, keep firing."
I
And they
love that.
pump-
More. I love it. I
So good.
loved Hux being like, "That's enough," and ignored. And then he takes controls. And no, that's later.
That's later.
Because he's like, "That's enough," and they stop. And then the smoke clears, and who do we fucking see?
Not only who do we see, but he goes like this. Just brushes the dirt off his shoulder.
I don't like
I don't
that.
like that either.
To me, that's Ryan Johnson too smart for his own good shit, where it's just like, that's just fucking weird. It feels like that's just not something that character would do.
I 100% agree, but fucking I love
It is cool.
I
It
love
is cool.
It's so cool.
I see both sides. I
And
see
then
both
what
sides.
what do we get?
It's like one of the only things I don't like in this.
Ky-
So yeah,
in
what's
this
up?
whole series.
Okay, this scene.
Or this whole like,
series of
sequence. Yeah,
events.
that's what I meant to say.
Go ahead.
Oh no, I was just gonna move it forward.
Yeah,
Like,
Kylo walks out. Kylo's like, "Fuck, I gotta go face him." Kylo walks out to face Luke, and then
Wait,
Poe.
hold on. You're skipping a part that I love is where Hux is like, "No, that's fucking dumb. Let's not do that." And he just fucking throws Hux like a small
Against the wall.
fucking rag doll against the wall, and Hux is just down. Is he out? We'll see next time.
Do you feel like Hux at some point, like later, like calls his mom? He's like, "That's it. I'm done. I'm done."
He's so mean to me at work.
He's so mean. Okay?
Hux for sure woke up and cried for like
This
an hour and
fucking
a half.
sucks.
It sucks, and all I want to do is make out with him.
Wait, and then,
shirtless one time.
and then they somehow got away?
Yeah.
That's him waking up 2 hours from now.
Yeah, that would be shit. Like, oh my god, my boss never listens to me. Poe figures out that Luke is stalling so they can survive. They have to find but there's got to be a natural exit out of this cave. C-3PO tries to tell him the odds, but Poe shuts him up and he goes, "Listen, you smell that? Where are the crystal dogs? They're all gone. They know the way out. There's got to be a way out of this fucking place." So unfortunately, when Poe and the gang reach the exit, they find it blocked off by a bunch of rocks, which I like also because he goes, "The Force is not all about moving rocks and shit." And she's like, "Oh, the
Yeah.
Force is about moving rocks." That's interesting.
Again, I like that, but I wish that she didn't echo it with when she comes out of the Millennium Falcon. She's like, "Oh, moving rocks."
Yeah.
And it's like, oh,
Wait, actually,
a little heavy
I
handed,
think
buddy.
it's fine.
Actually,
I thought
to
it
be
was
fair-
funny, but loses the message a little
that's
bit.
true, I
agree.
guess. Because when you think about it, you're like, wait, he just told her like the Force is more than this, and then she just told the audience that the Force isn't more than that. And it's sad because that is like the bastard criticism of this whole fucking thing is that you thought it was going to be different, but it's not. It's just more of the same. And you're like, oh, that's interesting. But I'm a sucker for callbacks. What can I say?
Oh man, we're so close to the runtime of the movie.
That's fine. We're almost done. They start, let's see, back in the battlefield, Luke and Kylo start fighting, but Luke evades all the attacks instead of engaging. And he says, I failed you, Ben. I'm sorry. And then he says, when I kill you, I will have killed the last Jedi. And he said, every word you just said is wrong. The rebellion is reborn. The war is just beginning, and I will not be the last Jedi. Out back, Rey is moving all the rocks.
I love
so
the-
our friends can go free.
I love the back and forth though, really, really quick to just. I failed you, Ben. I'm sorry. Yeah, I'm sure you are. It's such a weird.
You fucking, and you didn't even bother,
man. He's awesome.
You didn't even bother calling me or FMing me or any of this shit, bro. You know I got all of the social medias.
FM me, dude.
FM me, dog.
Yeah. No, what?
No,
we gotta
come
go.
on.
We gotta be
don't
done.
got
We gotta
time.
go.
What a close call! What a close call! And no one told me you were doing Solo right after The Last Jedi. I tell you, this Solo movie is no good.
Because we're going long.
It's bad.
Yeah.
No, we're still doing the same movie, Wada.
This is not helping.
We're still on The Last Jedi, yeah.
2.5 hours
Yeah.
about Last Jedi, the movie everyone hates.
Thanks, Wada. I didn't expect a second appearance.
Yeah,
Really.
no, that
Really surprised
He
by
keeps
him.
bumping his
He
head.
almost hit his head on the light.
It's like
yeah.
eating more bad ice cream where you're like, why am I eating this? Why? It wasn't good the first time. Let's see. Kylo threatens to destroy Rey and Luke, all of it. Luke hangs up his lightsaber and he goes, no, strike me down in anger and I'll always be with you, just like your father. And Kylo runs him through, like, doesn't even skip a beat, runs him through with his saber and then realizes that the blade's just going right through and he's been duped. And then back on Archto, Luke is still on his meditation rock and he's trying real hard.
Not
Really
to
trying
die.
hard to push that little sea pickle out of his butt. And then Kylo realizes he's been duped and he says, see you around,
What?
kid. And
Nope,
then disappears.
Keep moving.
See you around, kids.
And then the stress
Yeah.
the stress of projecting yourself across the galaxy really took it out of Luke. And he looks down at the rocks of the sunset and just like keels over. And then
I
back
do
on.
like that he sees Tatooine, although I don't think it makes any sense because he did not like Tatooine.
That's where he came from.
Well, it's the two sons of like when he first looked at it, he was looking towards his adventure.
I understand.
And this
I-
is like him looking back at like, all right, I have
Yeah,
closure.
his journey's closing.
I did
Yeah.
my job.
Very powerful stuff. It looks cool. Great. I am sorry. People can like it, and that's totally fine. I hate that he had the blue lightsaber, and I hate that he dies in force powers like this. What the
Yep,
fuck?
it's really.
Why? I'm
what
okay
if-
with him projecting himself.
Yeah.
Why did he need to die? Sure, there's the line earlier in the movie that's just like, oh, that's really hard, or like that would kill you, or whatever. Cool. Well, then that's just what happened.
Well, also,
I just
if
don't
it's
like
if it's that stressful to project yourself across the galaxy, maybe take the X-wing over and just do it from the backyard. You know what I mean?
Or do it
like
from inside. It
Park
doesn't
like a
matter.
mile
It
away
doesn't
and then
matter.
do it from there, so you can actually keep saving your
It-
friends.
But why does he have
Yeah.
the blue saber? Why is it not his saber? Why?
I don't know. Good question. I don't know why
It's
blue.
fucking weird, man. I feel like that's Ryan Johnson just being
I
like,
think-
everyone wanted to see Luke with his fucking green lightsaber. No. Fuck you, Tim Gettys.
No,
Fuck
it's
you.
true.
But
I'm
I
like,
mean-
Ryan Johnson, I like you. Please.
No, and he's just like, I'm gonna stomp on your ass. And you're like, okay, I don't know how that works.
What was the line about the sea pickle out of his
No,
ass? What
no,
was that
no,
all
no.
about?
Let's walk away from that. Let's walk. It's a sea cucumber that's been pickled. I don't know.
We've officially passed the movie time.
Yeah.
We're almost done. We're
Oh,
almost
we got
done.
3 more minutes.
Let's see. The stress of projectors. He realizes back on Crate, Rey and Leia feel what's about to happen as the sun sets. Luke disappears and his robe flies off into the wind. Back at the base, Kylo finds the dice Luke gave to Leia. He looks through the Force one final time to see Rey. She looks back at him and then she literally and figuratively shuts the door on him. When he looks back down to the dice, they disappear in his hand. Everything, all hope is lost.
Could he touch them?
Who knows?
That shit doesn't bother me that much. Like with
I
the
just
can he
don't-
touch, can he not touch? All of that shit was introduced in this movie. So it's like, that's fine. We don't know what the rules are because they're telling us now.
It sucks that Star Wars is like, hey, we have no rules. We'll make everything up
We'll
on
just
the fly.
introduce
But
like
it's like-
every element we want.
I'm
just so
okay
we can
with the
get this thing
dice in the
going.
same way that we why do we not like the dice, but we do like that water is on Kylo Ren?
True.
I think it works
Sure,
better there.
sure, yeah.
And this is a little weird.
I just think that like him being a ghost, like not being able to be touched, worked so well with the like, oh, look at how he's fighting. Look at the way he's dodging. So cool.
No red track marks being left under his feet.
Yeah,
yeah, that's a
so
good point.
rad. But then it's like with the physical why did he have to touch them? I wish that
He
he
wouldn't
had
have
just
to-
looked at
that's a
them,
good point.
And
Another-
when he went to touch them,
Another perfect example. You're right. Absolutely. Look at them, and as you go to touch them, they disappear.
yeah,
That would have been a
would've
much
so
more
cool.
powerful thing to do, but whatever. Okay, back on the Falcon. Let's. Oh, excuse me. Back on the Falcon. Everyone is super happy to see each other. It's a little party.
We made it.
Poe finally meets Rey because we realize they've never met before, which is weird. Like, really? Okay, yeah, I guess that works. I mean, they didn't need this because I would have just assumed at some point they kind of crossed paths.
Well, no. This movie literally starts where the last one ended. Like, we saw what happened where it's just like she got on the Falcon and left.
Yeah, I guess that's true. But like, did they not meet at that base at some point? Because they had time between the time that the
answer is no.
the Death Star was destroyed.
Yeah.
Like, I didn't need this as an audience member because I just would have assumed that at some point she'd be like, "Oh, you're the one that Finn keeps talking about. I got to go beat Luke, but nice to meet you."
We needed this because, like, damn, the sexual tension.
yeah.
You know what I mean?
Well, again, Oscar Isaac.
Oscar Isaac can't
can
do anything without seeming like he wants to fuck.
he could be talking to a light pole and I'd get it right.
Yeah.
But
The fun,
I'm
fun story. This is may the facts be with you about my life.
Wow, we
you
still
know,
have
you
some,
know
huh?
the Kevin Bacon, like 6 Degrees Kevin Bacon shit.
Mm-hmm.
I know not my friends, but on 2 separate sides, my friends' friends have fucked Oscar Isaac. I have 2
Wow.
separate friends
Is
who
it as
have
good as it
friends
looks like it's
that
gonna be?
fucked Oscar Isaac.
Can I smell them? Is there still? They probably showered by now.
God, man,
I'm sorry.
I wouldn't have showered then.
No, I
No,
would never
yeah,
have watched that
can't.
part
I want
off.
that
Could've
thing
been-
forever.
Yeah, get that new news thing. Okay, so everyone's happy. Finn, Finn, I guess Rose survived unfortunately, and Finn goes to look for a blanket, and when he opens the drawer, he spots the sacred Jedi text that Rey jacked from the Jedi tree. And then Rey and Leia share a nice moment. They both felt Luke die, but not with sadness or pain, with peace and purpose. She looks down at her hands and sees that she's carrying the 2 pieces of Luke's Skywalker, but they're just shards. They've been destroyed. And she says, "How do we rebuild a rebellion from this?" And Leia places her hand over Rey's and says, "We have everything we need." And we watch as the Falcon and what's
chills
left
right now, man.
of the Resistance fly through hyperspace toward the new future, one filled with hope. The end. Oh, wait, it's not the end. Should have been the end, but instead, we need to see that there's hope. So where do we go? Back to Canto Bites to see a bunch of kids who are like, one of them's got a little decoder ring, and when the slave comes in and says, "You guys," and they're talking about Luke Skywalker and doing the thing, and what happened?
Yeah, fucking news
got
travels
back to
fast.
them, I guess, and then the
Travels
kid
fast.
looks down, and he has a little decoder ring, and then the slave owner comes in and says, "Get the fuck back to work. What am I not paying you kids for?" And the kid goes out, and as he walks out of the door, reaches over and force grabs his own broom, and then looks out into the stars as he sees a blue shooting star go across, and he holds the broom like it's a lightsaber, and that's the end.
I don't actually hate it.
Elements of this I actually love.
I
I
like
do
that.
think
I
that
just
the
don't like
lightsaber thing's bad. It's like there's elements of it. The storytelling of Luke is fucking phenomenal, and the idea that like, hey, like the Force is out there. You don't need to be a Jedi.
It reminds me of C-3PO telling all the Ewoks a story, like with the
Yeah.
sound
Yeah, but
effects and
I
everything.
like that. Sorry,
It's
my
again
shoes got hooked together. It was really
what
scary
happens
for
when
a
you wear
second.
2 shoes made completely of Velcro.
Is that what's happening, Nick? Look at my shoes. What are they made of? Is that Velcro?
both untied?
They just got hooked together. Right now, it was very
It
scary.
is
guys.
2:30 p.m., ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, let's rank this fucking
I have
thing.
stuff to do.
Let's fucking hold on. Let's do a little haiku in review.
I gotta
Syllables
pee.
in the middle. That's right. If not poetic, no, we different. Haikus don't need to ride.
Fucking
You
Greg.
can go to patreon.com/kindafunny to write your haiku in review form. Fuck, I did it again. Tensa says, enjoyed the first part, fell off in the third act because of bad green screening.
What?
What?
I think he's talking about another movie.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's in the middle of it. He
Alright,
said
cool.
that
Great.
he
Sorry
said
you
that
didn't enjoy
yesterday.
it.
7
that's
syllables in the middle.
Yeah. Let's see. Alec B says, excellent film. First time Luke was ever 3-dimensional. Fight me IRL. But then he also says, but also don't unfragile. Ignacio Ross says, one of its problems is they tried to make Star Wars more comedic. That doesn't end well.
I feel like Star Wars has always been plenty comedic.
Yeah, me
It's
too.
good, funny moments.
It works. You want to do this one, Andy?
Which one?
Monty Joe.
Despite the film's flaws,
We are what they grew me on.
the best line it is.
There we go.
It's good.
It's a
There
good
we
line.
Pretty good.
fucking go. That was good. I like that one. Now it's time to rank Star Wars Episode VIII, The Last Jedi.
Is it? Or is it time to rank the villain?
Ragu.
Bigoted
Bagu.
Bagu.
What's up, guys? My name is Andy, and we're here to rank all the villains in the Star Wars universe. An interesting little tidbit, guys. I got a new phone, and I have not logged into the Ragu Bagu Vids Twitter account. And so I'm not fully sure. I haven't tweeted anything out in a while.
Sure.
But the list is as follows. At the bottom, I'm just going bottom to top, all right?
Okay.
Dooku, Jango, and Anakin, and CG Lucas from Attack of the Clones. Sidious and Vader from Revenge of the Sith. Maul and Palpatine from Phantom Menace. Darth Vader and General Tarkin from New Hope. Kylo and the First Order from Force Awakens. Krennic from Rogue One. Vader's choking hand from Empire. And Boba Fett and Palpatine from Return of the Jedi are sitting at number 1 right now. Where do we think?
Well, I think first off,
Who's the
we
bad
need to
guy?
define
Yeah.
who is the
Snoke,
bad guy.
right?
Kylo and Snoke.
Kylo and Snoke, I
Kylo?
believe. Yeah.
Yeah, by the end of it, absolutely.
Sure.
Yeah,
Okay.
sure.
I don't know. They're fucked. Like Snoke is really fucking cool. I wish we got more. But that's it. Looks like that's the end of Snoke.
Like so, Kylo in this just kind of reminds me of one of my favorite villains of all time, and that is fucking Breaking Bad. What's his fucking face? Giancarlo Esposito.
Oh, Gus Fring?
Gus Fring. He just reminds me of Gus Fring a lot because
Does he?
he's somebody that is an evil asshole, but at this point you're starting to see why he's become that, and you're starting to see what led him down that path.
But he's not,
But
like,
but there's
smart
even
or-
parts where you root for him, like you're rooting for him in that throne scene, and it's really cool.
I like the bad guys in this movie.
Yeah, me too.
I
I
like
think
the
they're
like the First Order, just in general.
Yeah, I think they're
like
great.
them. I'll put them
Phasma?
under Krennic.
Put him under Krennic at
Krennic
Rogue
at?
One. He's at number 3, so we're gonna put at number 4.
Let me take a little peek.
We're gonna put at number 4.
over Kylo and the Force One. Yeah, sure.
We'll put Kylo and Snoke from. I put Smoke, so that's just what it autocorrected to. From Return of the Jedi. Or, no, Last Jedi.
All right, now it's time to rank the Star Wars universe. Number 1, Empire Strikes Back. Number 2, A New Hope. Number 3, The Force Awakens. Number 4, Rogue One. Number 5, Return of the Jedi. Number 6, Revenge of the Sith. Number 7, The Phantom Menace. Number 8, Attack of the Motherfucking Clones. Where do we want to put this?
Right below Return of the Jedi.
100%.
Anybody that would argue that this movie is worse than the prequels is somebody that I don't even want to talk to.
Oh, I
Like-
I think this movie is way better than any
I
of the
think
prequels.
that-
Go
It's
ahead.
able
You
to-
know what? I want you to walk up to Yusuf Magid, our friend, look him in the face, and I
God.
dare you to tell him that.
Yeah, well, okay.
Because he's sexy.
He's
and
a lot of
muscly.
shirt off
We've
pictures.
said way worse things about his opinions of movies to his face.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that what this does to the lore is real bad, but it is a better movie overall. Like, as a movie.
Yeah.
Than,
I mean,
than the prequels. Any of the prequels.
for me, the highs of this movie. I'm sorry to cut you off.
No, it's okay.
For me, the highs of this movie are there's a lot of really great things in this movie, and unfortunately, a lot of really bad things in my opinion in this movie. But I can't tell you that this movie's boring, and I can't tell you that I wasn't enthralled in certain moments of this. But I can say that a lot of the prequels are just flat out like snore fests, and why like you just at least. I don't know. I at least the action in this is great, and at least that there have some compelling themes that I think were decently explored, albeit not backed up by the actual plot elements.
I want to add one last thing that, like, personally, like, I feel like story-wise, I think I like Revenge of the Sith more. For, like, the
You crazy.
what it's doing to, like, the overall lore of Star
crazy,
Wars.
Kev.
And I think that, like, I hope that 9 is good. I hope that 9 is good and that I enjoy it.
You know what? I won't disagree with you, Kevin. I think Revenge of the Sith has a cooler story, but everything else is just fucking
100%.
god awful.
It's a
So
bad
I wouldn't even
made
put it
movie.
within a goddamn 10-foot pole of this movie.
Yeah,
I
like-
think the part of me really, I don't know. Like I'm feeling kind of crazy and horny right now.
I think I'm right there with you.
And I want to put this above Rogue One.
Oh my God. I'm
Fuck
not
you.
No,
with you
I'm
at all.
sorry. You need to go.
I'm horny right now. Is the
Yeah.
thing.
Andy, I love your horniness.
I'm just horny right now, guys.
What's up, dude?
No, thank you.
How you
See, I'm
doing?
a little less horny. Like I have a semi-chub going right
Okay,
now,
all right.
where it's like, I'm not going to vote it above Return of the Jedi.
Thank
because
fucking Christ.
Because to me, though, and I just being critical and watching these movies week to week to week, it's like I'm really, really paying attention to them. And Return of the Jedi was my favorite going into this, and now look how low it is. Return of the Jedi has the best moment in all of Star Wars, which is the end.
Yeah.
The end is fucking awesome, sure. It also has a lot of other stuff that I did not vibe with and I did not like, and I had a lot of issues that I would also put with Last Jedi. So it's like, to be fair, of like, I think
Yeah,
they
but
each
like
have equal
what?
plot issues.
You don't like the Tarzan scream. Okay, I get it.
No, but it's not the Tarzan scream. It's the stuff of just like, why did they separate the characters for so long and like not give them
And where
interesting
like
things
each
to do?
character went didn't really make sense.
There's
for
no
their,
second act in the movie
That's,
at all.
but the thing is
This
this,
movie
like
does
they
that
separate.
also.
Yeah, this movie absolutely
My
And
does.
it
point.
does it
That's
badly,
exactly
yeah.
what I'm saying. Like,
But, like-
that's what I'm saying.
No,
Okay.
But
let
they
him
have
finish.
similar
I'm gonna let him
issues.
finish.
But-
I'm gonna let him finish.
But I feel like with The Last Jedi, it has so many moments that I think are fucking incredibly awesome, including the Luke walking out to face them, including the Poe Dameron beginning scene of him in the X-Wing and maneuvering and all that stuff. There's so many cool stuff. All of the Kylo and Rey stuff, I think, is 10 out of 10 Star Wars. Fantastic. But I don't think that those things add up to equaling what's as awesome as the end of Return of the Jedi. So I still put it under Return of the Jedi. But I wanted to say that I at least had a thought. Barrett, where you at?
I'm not trying to convince people one way or another. I just know that I really love this movie. For a lot of reasons that you guys feel of just the themes in this one really grabbed me. I really loved what they did with Luke. I think that was what he went through in the past is a very human moment that leads to his redemption arc, I would say, that I think is pulled off really well in this movie. I like what Rey and Kylo kind of go through because for me, this movie is everybody is at a crossroads. This is the crossroads movie, and it's all about
Britney Spears.
I was like, how dare you, sir? Don't bring in Britney.
and like how. Like, what's the next path we choose to be on? And, like, yes, there is the kind of moment where, like, there could be something new from here on out where they decide to neither be Sith or Jedi. They just go off and start something new. But I think it was to show that for Rey and Kylo, like, yeah, there was a chance, but that's not who we are to the core of who we are as people. You know, and I really enjoyed that for them. Funny enough, I actually like Finn's arc more than Poe's arc in this one. Rewatching again, it's like a lot of the Pin and Holdo.
What was Finn's arc though?
Finn's arc was actually deciding to stand for something. Like everybody,
So
I
you
think
mean his arc from the first movie?
he doesn't have that arc from the first movie.
totally does.
No, he doesn't.
He doesn't have an arc in this movie. He does not. Neither does Poe. Actually, Poe has an arc. I'm sorry. He and Rose, the things they do in this are I mean, he's literally the same person at the beginning as he is at the end.
But
so
also,
that's not an arc.
Poe's
No,
arc is
he's-
such bullshit. Where at the end, it's like, oh, see,
No, Poe-
she didn't
let
care
Barrett
about
finish.
being.
Sorry,
Let
Barrett, I
Sorry.
apologize.
Sorry.
The
Continue.
reason I like Finn's arc because it's like Rose I like as a character. I think a lot of her dialogue is terrible. Like, but like I liked the whole at the end of Force Awakens. Finn doesn't have like the defining like I'm fighting for a side. He even goes,
But he does though.
No, he
when
admits
when he leaves Maz Kanata's castle, right?
he admits when he goes to Skywalker Base or Starkiller Base that he's not even helping the rebels. He is just there to get Rey, and it's not until Han Solo is like, "No, we have to do this. People are expecting us," and he's just like, "All right, well, fine, we'll just do that." But his last action was still just to protect someone close to him, not to like side with a greater good. That's what his arc in this movie was for me, at least, and it worked for me at least because of he had two kind of. Again, the crossroads where Rose is like very much of like rebellion and we're fighting for good, and then Benicio del Toro's character is more of the roguish of like kind of what he thinks of himself, and he realizes like no, this guy and how he acts is like terrible, and when he comes to that decision of like I can't be like that, and I can't be like someone who's just looking out for himself. He is then faced with a character who is also very much for their side, and that is Captain Phasma. Do I think it's all done perfectly? No. I think there are problems, but I really liked what they did for him. Poe's arc, I think, is an absolute mess. I do think there are some cool sides to learning of like how to be a leader and stuff, but then at the end, the leader kind of takes his advice and gets into a ship and blows something up. There's something cool there about two generations teaching each other of the balance of leadership and the necessity to actually take action. But I think that was actually the messiest part of the movie. Anyway,
Yeah.
I really, really like this movie. For me personally, I would put it at number 3. I know, again, I'm not trying to convince And you don't need to judge me on that. Like, that's just Star Wars is what we want to make of it. Star Wars, it's so big that we're allowed to have our own feelings and thoughts towards it. And
Aaron, I'm not gonna judge you, dude. This cast of goons around me put Incredible Hulk over Thor. All right, guys.
Right.
Come on.
It's a better movie.
But that's just I understand the problems people have with it. I was just in the right place and time when I saw it, and it got its hooks into me. I like that we don't really have questions for it at the end, because I think that's what Force Awakens actually. Like, I think that's a big failure on Force Awakens' part, is that there are too many questions at the end that were set up, and now there's just like
They had 2 more movies to answer those questions.
I
feel like that's how you make a trilogy.
No, but here's how you make a trilogy. You ask those questions already knowing the answers, which
don't-
unfortunately I don't think Abrams had the answers for.
Definitely not. He definitely did not.
You have to imagine.
Actually,
it was a
maybe
meeting.
he did, but we know for a fact that Ryan threw all the script out of the window and decided to write his own. So
Lightsaber.
Yeah.
Anyway,
it's
that's
unfortunate.
where the film grabs me. That's where I would put it. But I know that I'm not going to convince a lot of people there. I just want it at least above the fucking prequels, because those are not good movies. I still like them. They're just not nearly as well made as this
George
movie.
Lucas is a terrible director.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know.
I mean, to kind of echo that last sentiment, there's so like
You're
the
still on
shots
screen.
alone in this movie make it worth more than the
prequels.
Yeah.
The cinematography alone in this movie makes it more.
Yeah.
I don't love the editing, and I think a lot of the direction is piss poor, and a lot of the plot points, again, I've lamented on that enough. But you cannot deny those movies fucking gorgeous. And it uses a
Gorgeous.
lot of my favorite thing, which is practical sets and practical props, and that alone makes it leaps and bounds above the best prequel, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Who thinks it's better than Revenge of the Sith? Raise your hand. Everyone raise their hand. Who thinks it's better than Return of the Jedi? Raise your hand. Andy and Barrett raise their hand. The new ranking of the Star Wars Cinematic Universe. Number 1, Empire Strikes Back. Number 2, New Hope. Number 3, The Force Awakens. Number 4, Rogue One. Number 5, Return of the Jedi. Number 6, The Last Jedi. Number 7, Revenge of the Sith. Number 8, The Phantom Menace. Number 9, Attack of the Clones. Ladies and gentlemen, we will return this Friday with Mandalorian Chapter 5 for Star Wars in Review. And then next Tuesday.
Maybe I'll be there.
Yeah, maybe.
You're always there in
Maybe.
spirit.
No,
As
you
Luke
were there.
Pro.
We talked to you.
I was there.
Yeah.
I was totally there. Yeah.
And then
Maybe
next
Force
Tuesday,
Ghost
we're
next
doing
time.
Solo, a Star Wars story.
I wonder where that's gonna land in this.
Wait,
The
is
only
Solo
movie
on
I
Disney
haven't
Plus?
re-seen.
Me neither.
No,
I
it's on
tried.
Netflix.
Ah, fuck.
Yeah.
Damn it.
I tried to
Well, you have
realize that.
Netflix.
Yeah, but
I mean,
it
I'll
looks
watch it
better
again.
on Disney Plus.
Until next time.
Fucking man,
Let it
just
die.
go and do it, dude.